Chapter 2199. Genius remembers love in 1 second small. We provide you with interesting novels to read. Back then, he was chased by WN Genshin and almost died in the training ground. It wasn't easy for him to rush into the floating palace, and it was a situation where he had a slim chance of survival. Now that he thought about it, he felt a lingering fear. If the plan had gone wrong, he would have died long ago. When they saw Fang Chen, they immediately treated him as a native of the myriad Devil Islands. Soon, the criminals rushed over and surrounded Fang Chen. When he arrived at the floating palace again, the myriad sword body took the initiative to defend his body. All these years, the Vice Island Lord didn't do anything to you, which is already merciful enough. But you bunch of trash, you can't even contact that bastard after more than 10 years. So, it's useless to keep you alive. A deafening voice rang out beside Mocha. Even though the floating palace was filled with danger, Fang Chen slowly walked out of it. Fang Chen stood in the clouds of the void and looked down. Training ground, Fang Chen said. He spread out his divine sense and covered the entire training ground, discovering many criminals. Let's go. Fang Chen couldn't be bothered with these criminals, as long as they didn't provoke him. However, things didn't go as planned. After some criminals discovered Fang Chen, they quickly sent a message back. Soon, all the criminals in the training ground knew of Fang Chen's location. Many years ago, WN Genshin went on a killing spree and beat up all the criminals in the training ground, causing blood to flow like a river. After a few days, he arrived at the East District. The criminals here hated the natives of the myriad Devil Islands to the bone. When they saw Fang Chen, they immediately treated him as a native of the myriad Devil Islands. Soon, the criminals rushed over and surrounded Fang Chen. I don't want to kill you, don't force me to do it. Fang Chen said coldly. His body emitted an extremely violent energy, forcing the surrounding criminals to retreat. Don't panic, let's kill him together. Someone shouted. Immediately, all the criminals attacked. However, they were suppressed by WN Genshin and didn't have any chance. The thunderous attack landed on Fang Chen's body. The latter remained motionless, allowing these attacks to land on him. His myriad sword's body was enough to block them. Scram! Fang Chen let out a low growl and threw out a punch, sending all the criminals who were surrounding him flying. Cough cough. The criminal who was sent flying spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale. Devil, I don't want to kill you. Don't force my hand. These criminals looked at Fang Chen with fear. They didn't dare to approach him and allowed him to disappear from the training field. Soon after, Fang Chen found the exit of the training field and walked out. He has returned to the myriad Devil Islands. Last time, he was chased by WN Genshin and fled in a sorry state. This time, he wanted to bathe the myriad Devil Islands in blood to take revenge for himself and his master. His spiritual sense swept through the entire myriad Devil Islands, but he actually didn't discover myriad swords Sheng. This caused Fang Chen to be extremely puzzled. He left. Fang Chen muttered to himself. He then thought of Mocha and the others in the East District. After rushing for a few days, he arrived at the East District. The guardian of the East District was still guarding this place. Fang Chen didn't alert the guardian and went straight to the Stet tribe. However, an unexpected scene occurred. Swoosh! What's going on? The people who were left behind stopped in their tracks. They retreated continuously as though they had seen a devil. Fang Chen stood in the clouds of the void and looked down. The latter's head exploded. His primordial spirit didn't even have time to escape and died. At this moment, there was an intense battle going on in the Stet tribe. Bang! At a glance, Fang Chen saw Mocha leading the tribes in the East District in a bloody battle. The tribes that were surrounding them were from the other 3 districts. We're all from the myriad Devil Islands. Why are you forcing us? While fighting, Mocha roared in anger. Chen-ph, who asked you to offend the island master? One of them sneered. Back then, that thief came from your Stet tribe. You have to bear the main responsibility. All these years, the Vice Island Master has been merciful enough to not lay his hands on you. However, you bunch of trash can't contact that thief in more than 10 years. Therefore, it's useless to keep you alive. The people surrounding Mokka were experts from the other 3 districts. They were suppressing Mokka. I can't accept this. This, what? An agitated voice came from the primordial spirit light ball. Mokka looked up to the sky and roared furiously. However, no matter how hard he tried, there was nothing he could do. Many tribes in the East District suffered because of Mokka. Even his hard work, the Stet tribe, was going to become history. Die. Before the Vice Island Master returns, all of you will die. One of the divine inscription's realm leaders roared. A terrifying attack landed on Mokka's body. Mokka closed his eyes and welcomed the arrival of death. Boom. A deafening sound came from beside Mokka. All the martial artists in the East District were dumbfounded as they watched all this. They were completely shocked. This was his starting point in the primal chaos void. He didn't want to see the myriad Devil Islands disappear in the wheel of history. Mokka, who was supposed to die, was safe and sound. On the other hand, the Divine Inscription's realm leader who attacked him was sent flying by the terrifying force. He spat out blood and his aura weakened. Soon, all the criminals in the training ground knew where Fang Chen was. Who is it? The leaders of the various tribes surrounding the Stet tribe roared in anger. Mokka opened his eyes and looked in front of him in disbelief. Under everyone's gaze, Fang Chen strolled over from the clouds. It's you. After seeing Fang Chen, the leaders of the various tribes glared at Fang Chen and prepared to attack. The people of the Stet tribe cheered in unison. You want to destroy the Stet tribe? Fang Chen asked. The thunderous attack landed on Fang Chen's body. The latter didn't move and allowed the attacks to land. The myriad sword body was enough to block them. HMPH. Not only will we destroy the Stet tribe, but we will also kill you. Is that so? Bang. Fang Chen entered the myriad devil palace without any effort. After a few days of hurrying, he arrived at the Eastern District. Fang Chen punched out and smashed the head of the person who spoke. The latter's head exploded. His primordial spirit didn't even have time to escape and died. This, the sudden turn of events, caused the warriors surrounding the Stet tribe to retreat. They looked at Fang Chen with fear. WN Genshin is a sinner of the myriad devil island. I have confidence in dealing with him, Fang Chen said. But do you know where WN Genshin went? Your strength, stop pretending. Everyone, attack together. The Vice Island Master will reward you handsomely if you kill him. Mokka reminded. However, things didn't go as planned. There would be brave men when there was a great reward. Following the roar of one of the tribe leaders, all the warriors surrounded Fang Chen in a frenzy. Be careful. Mokka reminded. Trash. Fang Chen sneered and performed the traceless sword technique. Swoosh. With a slash of the sword, half of the warriors who were charging at him were injured or killed. The remaining people stopped in their tracks instantly. They retreated continuously as if they were looking at a devil. Run. Swoosh. Fang Chen stood in the clouds of the void and looked down. Another slash of the sword killed all the remaining people. In the Stet tribe, blood flowed like a river and corpses were piled up like mountains. All the warriors in the Eastern District were dumbfounded. They were completely shocked. Another slash of the sword killed all the remaining people. Your bitter days are over. I came back this time to destroy WN Genshin and return peace to the myriad devil island, Fang Chen said softly. This, Mokka took a deep breath and walked to Fang Chen's side. The thunderous attack landed on Fang Chen's body. The latter didn't move at all, allowing these attacks to land. The myriad sword body was enough to block them. Leader. One sentence expressed the bitterness of all these years. Your bitter days are over. I came back this time to destroy WN Genshin and return peace to the myriad devil island, Fang Chen said softly. All the warriors in the Eastern District were dumbfounded. They were completely shocked. Chimph, who asked you to offend the island lord? One of them sneered. The few people who surrounded Mokka were all experts from the other 3 districts. They were suppressing Mokka. Deafening shouts sounded throughout the entire Stet tribe. Everyone was shouting Fang Chen's name. Through the battle just now, They had reason to believe that Fang Chen could kill Wn Genshin and liberate their Stet tribe. Ha ha ha. Wild laughter rang out incessantly. Mokka reminded. Mokka, who was supposed to die, was safe and sound. On the other hand, the divine inscription realm leader who attacked him was directly blasted back by the terrifying power. He spat out blood and his aura was weak. In the Stet tribe's meeting hall, Mokka, the leader of the divine monkey tribe, and some leaders of other tribes were discussing matters. Leader, do you really have the confidence to deal with Wan Genshin? Mokka asked. Do you know where the mineral vein is? Fang Chen nodded and said, the Myriad Devil Island's island lord has long been imprisoned by Wan Genshin. All along, Wan Genshin has been issuing orders in the name of the island lord. Actually, all of that was his means. Wan Genshin is a sinner of the Myriad Devil Island. I have confidence in dealing with him, Fang Chen said. But do you know where Wan Genshin went? In a void outside the Myriad Devil Island, a mineral vein was discovered. Wan Genshin should have gone to that mineral vein, the leader of the divine monkey tribe said. Do you know where the mineral vein is? Everyone shook their heads, indicating that they did not know. Fang Chen found the exit of the trial field and walked out from it. Fang Chen did not ask anymore. Wan Genshin would return sooner or later. From today onwards, Mokka, you will lead the tribes in the Eastern District and flatten the entire Myriad Devil Island. If anyone tries to stop you, inform me. Fang Chen said, I will make a trip to the Myriad Devil Palace. The Myriad Devil Palace was the core of the Myriad Devil Island. It's you. It was also the place where Huang Xian had secretly infiltrated. The Myriad Devil Island Lord was imprisoned here. Almost effortlessly, Fang Chen entered the Myriad Devil Palace. Myriad Devil Island Lord. Fang Chen punched out, ruthlessly smashing the head of the person who spoke. Fang Chen said. Suddenly, a ball of Yuan spirit light drifted over from the silent 10,000 Demons Hall. Shouted one of the divine inscription's realm leaders. A terrifying attack landed on Mokka's body. Who are you? A voice rang out from the Yuan spirit light ball. In a void outside the Myriad Devil Island, a mineral vein was discovered. Wan Genshin should have gone to that mineral vein, the leader of the divine monkey tribe said. Do you want to rise again and regain control of the Myriad Devil Island? Fang Chen asked. Of course. The Myriad Devil Island Lord said with a hoarse voice. For countless years, he had always wanted to rise again. However, he had always been suppressed by Wan Genshin and had no chance at all. I can help you kill Wan Genshin. As for whether you can recover, it will depend on your own fortune, Fang Chen said. If the Myriad Devil Island Lord could recover his peak strength, he would indeed be a good candidate. What? An excited voice rang out from the Yuan Spirit Light Ball. Wild laughter rang out incessantly. Once again descending to the floating heaven palace, the myriad sword body took the initiative to defend his physical body. In fact, there was another reason why Fang Chen chose to release the Myriad Devil Island Lord. That was, the Myriad Devil Island needed an expert to guard it. If the Myriad Devil Island Lord could recover his peak strength, he would indeed be a good candidate. As for Mokka and the others, they were too weak to control the entire Myriad Devil Island. What's going on? Chapter 2200. A genius remembers love in 1 second. I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. You. Obviously, the Myriad Demon Island Lord didn't believe it. Ever since he was ambushed by Wan Genshin, his physical body was shattered and his primordial spirit was imprisoned in the Myriad Demon Hall. All these years, he had been struggling at death's door. Wan Genshin used his identity to seize the resources of the entire Myriad Demon Island, and his strength improved by leaps and bounds. I came back this time specifically to kill Wan Genshin, Fang Chen said. As for helping you, it's just a matter of convenience. Next, Fang Chen successfully rescued the Myriad Demon Island Lord from the Myriad Demon Hall. However, his primordial spirit was severely damaged. It was difficult to find a suitable body in a short time. Fang Chen didn't care about this. His goal was Wan Genshin. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. During this period, Mokka led the tribes in the East District and was invincible. Almost no tribes could stop him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Occasionally, a few tribes resisted, but they were directly suppressed by Fang Chen with thunderous means. In just a month, Mokka had unified the entire Myriad Demon Island. At this time, the Myriad Demon Island Lord also obtained a suitable physical body. With Fang Chen's help, he was reborn. Fellow Daoist, I will never forget your kindness. In the blink of an eye, he caught up with Wn Genshin. In just a month, Mokka had unified the entire Myriad Demon Island. The black-robed Myriad Demon Island Lord cupped his fists and thanked him. Fang Chen waved his hand and said, "After I leave, you will be in charge of guarding the Myriad Demon Island. At the same time, I will appoint Mokka as the Deputy Island Lord. I, the Lord of Myriad Demon Island, hereby make a martial oath. If you can help me kill Wn Genshin, I will never betray you in this life. The Myriad Demon Island will always be your home." At this moment, in the void outside the Myriad Demon Island, Wn Genshin's face was filled with an excited smile. What an unexpected gain. Looking at the shiny ore in his palm, Wn Genshin was very excited. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. He already had a plan in his heart. When he returned to the Myriad Demon Island, he would send tribal warriors to mine for him. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Very soon, Wn Genshin returned to the Myriad Devil Islands. 10,000 swords flourish. Fang Chen noticed Wn Genshin immediately. His cold voice entered Wn Genshin's ears. At the same time, Wn Genshin discovered that in the airspace above the Myriad Devil Islands, Fang Chen was standing side by side with a black-robed man. Instantly, Wn Genshin was enraged. "You dare to come back?" Wn Genshin said coldly. Subsequently, Fang Chen successfully rescued the Myriad Demons Island Lord from the Myriad Demons Hall. 10,000 swords flourish. The Myriad Devil Islands sovereign berated loudly, "You are the eternal sinner of the Myriad Devil Islands." Regarding this, Fang Chen did not mind. His goal was Myriad Swords prosperity. Wn Genshin immediately noticed the Myriad Demons Island Lord. His eyes widened as he asked, "How did you know?" Surprised, the Lord of Myriad Demon Islands sneered and walked side by side with Fang Chen. In an instant, they arrived in front of Wn Genshin. "Die." Wn Genshin flicked his finger and a beam of sword light immediately shot out. He wanted to kill Fang Chen with lightning speed. "You are the one who will die." Fang Chen bellowed and executed the traceless sword technique. The terrifying sword light tore through the sky and pierced through Wn Genshin's body. The latter had no means of resisting. Poochie. Wn Genshin's body was on the verge of collapsing as he was sent flying. How is this possible? Wn Genshin's heart trembled. How did this fella's strength increase to such a level in such a short period of time? Wn Genshin's death meant that the Myriad Devil Islands had returned to a peaceful era. Wn Genshin, your death is here. The Lord of Myriad Demon Islands laughed eerily. "No, I can't die." Subsequently, he returned to the Myriad Devil Islands. Wn Genshin had already given up on attacking. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Swoosh. Wn Genshin's head fell to the ground and lost all signs of life. Looking at the Lord of Myriad Demon Islands, Mokka sighed in his heart. How was it? Occasionally, there would be a few tribes that resisted, but they would be suppressed by Fang Chen with lightning speed. Wn Genshin shot out a beam of sword light. While Fang Chen was blocking it, his body flashed and he flew out of the Myriad Devil Islands. Interesting. Fang Chen was the first to notice Wn Genshin. His cold voice entered Wn Genshin's ears. Trying to leave? Fang Chen sneered. He executed the space-time collapse technique and chased after Wn Genshin. In the blink of an eye, he caught up with Wn Genshin. No. However, at this moment, Fang Chen changed his mind and deliberately slowed down his speed. The tribes that were loyal to Wn Genshin were all eradicated. Soon, Wn Genshin escaped from the Myriad Devil Islands and flew towards the mine. I'll let you be proud for a while. Fang Chen followed behind secretly. A few days later, a glittering vein of ore floated in a chaotic void. WN Genshin entered the mine and heaved a sigh of relief. Damn fella. I won't let you off for snatching my myriad devil islands. WN Genshin gritted his teeth and said. Outside the mine, Fang Chen's consciousness covered the area. It's actually a 9-star golden dragon mine. What an unexpected harvest. Fang Chen grinned. He had once seen an introduction of the 9-star golden dragon mine in the records of the Limitless Sword sect. The 9-star golden dragon mine was an extremely precious mine. WN Genshin, who was resting, was scared to the point of pissing his pants when he heard this deadly sound. It was said that this mine could be used to forge all kinds of powerful weapons. To a blacksmith, it was definitely a huge fortune. Usually, it was very difficult to purchase such a mine. Even if one could buy it, one would have to pay a huge price. He did not expect to find a mine here. The value of this 9-star stone had already surpassed the value of the entire mine. Looking at the size of the mine, there were at least millions of ores. Interesting. On the 9-star stone, there were 9 water caltrops. Each water caltrop was shining. Looking from afar, it was as dazzling as a golden diamond. Fang Chen chuckled and entered the mine. WN Genshin. WN Genshin, who was resting, was scared to the point of pissing his pants when he heard this deadly sound. No! He still wanted to escape, but Fang Chen did not give him the chance and killed him with a sword. Poochie. WN Genshin's head fell to the ground and lost his life. After that, Fang Chen entered the mine to check. The deeper he went, the denser the aura was. I wonder if there is a 9-star stone in this mine, Fang Chen muttered to himself. The 9-star stone was the best type of golden dragon mine. One 9-star stone was equivalent to an entire mine. Great! The Lord of Myriad Demon Island clenched his fists and shouted excitedly. Under normal circumstances, it was very difficult to find a 9-star stone. This golden diamond was only the size of a palm, but its brightness illuminated the entire mine. Hey! After going deep into the mine, Fang Chen found something strange. He walked along the golden ore for about an hour and found a strange place. In this strange place, divine consciousness could not spread out. Could there really be a 9-star stone? The characteristics of this place were exactly the same as the place where the 9-star stone was. Fang Chen hurriedly started to mine the mine and soon dug out a bright golden diamond. This golden diamond was only the size of a palm, but its brightness illuminated the entire mine. 9-star stone. Fang Chen was very excited and held the golden diamond in his hand. Everyone knew that the reason why the Myriad Devil Islands could have their current achievements was because of Fang Chen. There were 9 water chestnuts on the 9-star stone and each of them was shining. From afar, it was as dazzling as a golden diamond. Holding the 9-star stone, Fang Chen was very excited. The value of this 9-star stone had already surpassed the value of the entire mine. Most importantly, if he smelted the 9-star stone into the hidden star sword, it would definitely be able to greatly enhance its grade. Ha ha ha, I've made a fortune this time. Fang Chen laughed excitedly. After a long time, Fang Chen calmed himself down. After keeping the 9-star stone, he carefully checked the mine to make sure there were no abnormalities. Finally, he set up a heaven-piercing array outside the mine to hide it. Then, he returned to the Myriad Demon Island. As for the other tribes, they were completely loyal to the Lord of Myriad Demon Island. How is it? You still dare to come back? The Lord of Myriad Demon Island asked anxiously. WN Genshin has fallen, Fang Chen said. That's great. The Lord of Myriad Demon Island clenched his fists and shouted excitedly. The fall of WN Genshin meant that the Myriad Demon Island had returned to a peaceful era. With the cooperation of the Lord of Myriad Demon Island and Mocha, the tribes on the Myriad Demon Island were sorted out. The tribes that were loyal to WN Genshin were all eradicated. As for the other tribes, they were completely loyal to the Lord of Myriad Demon Island. In just a few days, the Myriad Demon Island was on the right track. The Lord of Myriad Demon Island swore a martial Dao oath, so Fang Chen was very assured. He told the Lord of Myriad Demon Island about the 9-star golden dragon ore and asked him to send martial artists to the ore vein to mine. A portion of the ore will be left in the Myriad Demon Island, and I will take the rest with me, Fang Chen said. Wan Jiansheng. The 9-star stone was the best type of golden dragon ore. A single 9-star stone was equivalent to an ore vein. Wan Jiansheng. Don't worry, leave this to me, the Lord of Myriad Demon Island said confidently. With a flick of his finger, Fang Chen imprinted the map in the mind of the Lord of Myriad Demon Island. Most importantly, if he could smelt the 9-star stone into the hidden star sword, it would definitely increase its grade greatly. From now on, I will come to collect the 9-star golden dragon ore every once in a while, Fang Chen said. After settling everything, Fang Chen left the Myriad Demon Island. Huala. I'll let you be proud for a while. Soon, Wan Jiansheng returned to the Myriad Demon Island. Mocha still felt that everything was so surreal. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that the seemingly ordinary young man back then would grow to this extent. Wan Jiansheng's body was on the verge of collapsing as he flew out. After settling everything, Fang Chen left the Myriad Demon Island. Looking at the Lord of Myriad Demon Island, Mocha sighed in his heart. No. 9-star stone. Wan Jiansheng has already fallen, Fang Chen said. The existence that was once high and mighty was actually on the same level as him now. This made him feel flattered. After that, Fang Chen entered the ore vein to check it out. Fang Chen also fulfilled his promise and brought Xiao Hei of the Black Earth tribe to Zekai town outside the Myriad Demon Island for him to cultivate in the Ling family. The entire Myriad Demon Island was operating in an orderly manner. Everyone knew that the current achievements of the Myriad Demon Island were inseparable from Fang Chen. After that, Fang Chen successfully rescued the Lord of Myriad Demon Island from the Myriad Demon Hall. However, this was only a small episode in Fang Chen's pursuit of the peak of martial arts. Wan Jiansheng's body was on the verge of collapsing as he flew out. Wan Jiansheng's heart trembled. How long had it been? How did this guy's strength increase to such a level? After returning to Zekai town, he settled Xiao Hei down. Then, he brought Ling Shuang'er back to the Wuji sword sect. Chapter 2201. A genius will remember love in 1 second. We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. However, he would only have enough confidence if he was strong enough. Limitless sword sect. After doing all this, Fang Chen left the Purgatory Tower. The current outer sect was no longer a challenge for Fang Chen. Fang Chen's arrival caused a commotion. He took revenge in Zekai town and killed Wan Jiansheng in Myriad Demon Island. This was Fang Chen's obsession. This time, he had solved all these things in one fell swoop and fulfilled his promise. After returning to the Star River province, Fang Chen arranged for Ling Shuang'er to stay in the mansion and provided her with enough origin stones so that she could cultivate without any worries. When she reached the lowest standard of the Limitless Sword Sect, she would be able to become an official disciple of the Star River province. By the way, you've been targeted by the Tianqing clan. When you went to Zekai town, the Tianqing clan was preparing to secretly attack you. However, I've already dealt with them. I've erased all traces of you going to Myriad Demon Island to prevent them from destroying it. Ling Shuang'er's heart was filled with mixed feelings. Her pitch-black eyes stared at Fang Chen's departing figure as complicated emotions surfaced in her heart. Back then, this guy was still her servant. Now, everyone in the Ling family needed his protection. Such a huge contrast made Ling Shuang'er somewhat unable to accept it. However, on the path of martial arts, the strong were the masters. In this world where the strong were respected, strength was the only thing that mattered. If you were strong enough, even a young martial artist could become a senior in the eyes of others. Fang Chen was the same. She glanced at the place where the star and moon were cultivating. There wasn't much movement. After a long time, Ling Shuang'er shook her head slightly and entered the secret chamber. She was shouldering a lot of pressure. The entire Ling family had placed all their hopes on her. Because they knew that this woman was Fang Chen's wife, their attitude was very polite. Although Fang Chen's relationship with the Ling family was enough to protect the Ling family. However, She had to be strong enough to have enough confidence. The number of people in the Star River Prefecture increased to 4. The two of them sat on a blue stone at the peak of the mountain, looking down at the earth and feeling the wonderful aura. Let's go and give it a try. Fang Chen chuckled and left the Galaxy City with his wife. While Ling Shuang'er was cultivating in seclusion, the Destruction Swordsman would often train at the sword puppet stage in the Limitless Sword Pagoda. As for Star and Moon, her Xianyin Phoenix physique had undergone a great transformation, and she had been cultivating in seclusion. Fang Chen nodded slightly, and then said, "Let's go to the Purgatory Tower to consolidate the Tier 4 Myriad Swords body." You don't have to worry. His master is the leader of the Wuji Sword Sect, Fang Chen said. In time, it would not be impossible for him to be ranked first in the Galaxy Prefecture. Glancing at the place where Star and Moon were cultivating, there wasn't much movement. Fang Chen nodded slightly, and then said, "Let's go to the Purgatory Tower to consolidate the Tier 4 Myriad Swords body. There are a large number of Holy Spirit Fish and a Holy Spirit Fish King here. These are no longer useful to me. You can take them," Fang Chen said. "I'll also leave the Origin Stone for you." She was under a lot of pressure. The entire Ling family had placed all their hopes on her. The Myriad Swords body had reached Tier 4 because it had absorbed the Divine Order pattern. It had not been completely consolidated and needed to be tempered. Soon, Fang Chen arrived at the Purgatory Tower. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Without stopping, he went directly to the top of the Purgatory Tower. The pressure here was very great, and ordinary people could not enter at all. Even when Kong could only go to the next level at most. Boom. The wild power of thunder constantly bombarded his body, and the Myriad Swords body was automatically released to accept the baptism of power. This lasted for about 3 days and 3 nights. Dong. When the last bolt of thunder bombarded Fang Chen's body, the latter opened his eyes. On his body, Sword Qi and the Myriad Swords body were integrated into one, and he had reached an extremely high level. Fang Chen realized that he could control the Myriad Swords body as he wished, and had completely consolidated it. After doing all this, Fang Chen left the Purgatory Tower. As soon as he walked down the Purgatory Mountain, he felt a powerful fluctuation from the Star River province. Early the next morning, Fang Chen found the Sword Master. Fang Chen's eyes lit up, and he immediately used the time collapse technique to quickly return to the Star River province. "You don't have to pressure yourself. Try to enter the inner sect as soon as possible," Fang Chen said. Dong. Star and Moon would not allow the Star River province's ranking to drop. Deafening noises rang out incessantly. When she reached the lowest standard of the Limitless Sword Sect, she would become an official disciple of the Star River province. Love Go Little Say W. Chew. This startled some of the disciples in the surrounding area, and they all cautiously gathered around. Is finally going to break through, Fang Chen said to himself. Star and Moon's cultivation area was surrounded by the power of the Origin for a long time. After a while, the trembling sound disappeared. Star and Moon, dressed in purple robes, walked out of the cultivation area. The Sword Master's voice was clearly filled with excitement. After seeing his wife, Fang Chen was incomparably stunned. After breaking through to the Divine Pattern Realm, his wife's temperament had undergone a tremendous change. After seeing his wife, Fang Chen was incomparably stunned. After breaking through to the Divine Pattern Realm, his wife's temperament had undergone a tremendous change. Although she still looked cold on the outside, she gave people a very shocking feeling. Seeing his wife walking towards him, Fang Chen grinned. Fang Chen was the same. "How is it?" Fang Chen asked casually. "It should be able to enter the Wuji Sky Tablet," Star and Moon said softly. Hearing that, Fang Chen was stunned for a moment. Then, he carefully looked at Star and Moon. "I believe you," Star and Moon said. Soon, he realized that Star and Moon's mystic yin phoenix physique seemed to have mutated. The battle caused a huge commotion. At first, the two were evenly matched. However, when Star and Moon used the mystic yin phoenix physique's ultimate technique, she immediately suppressed this disciple. "Let's go and try." Fang Chen chuckled and left the Star River Prefecture with his wife. In the 10 years since Fang Chen came to the outer sect, he had broken countless records. There were many disciples in front of the Wuji sky tablet. Fang Chen's arrival caused a commotion. Senior brother Fang Chen. After a while, the trembling sound disappeared. Many disciples greeted Fang Chen. Fang Chen nodded. The swordmaster said, "All right, I'll take you into the inner sect today." At the same time, when they saw the beautiful woman behind Fang Chen, their eyes were filled with envy. "Let's challenge him." Xingyu nodded and walked to the front of the everlasting sky stele. She challenged the last disciple of the everlasting sky stele. "Excuse me." Because he knew that this woman was Fang Chen's wife, his attitude was very polite. Boom. As soon as Star and Moon attacked, Fang Chen knew that his wife was incredible. She just broke through to the divine pattern realm, and she's already entered the Wuji sky tablet. Thinking of this, Fang Chen grinned. The battle caused a huge commotion. At first, the two were evenly matched. However, when Star and Moon used the mystic Yin Phoenix Physique's ultimate technique, she immediately suppressed this disciple. Bang! One day, our family of 3 will be able to command Dongxian Heaven and even Void Star Heaven. Fang Chen hugged Star and Moon and laughed. With a loud bang, this disciple was sent flying. He got up from the ground and cupped his fists with a solemn expression. "I admit defeat." There was another uproar in front of the Wuji sky tablet. Countless disciples stared at Star and Moon with their eyes wide open. After entering the Wuji sky tablet, Star and Moon naturally became an official disciple of the Star River province. This also made Fang Chen breathe a sigh of relief. At least after he entered the inner sect, Star and Moon could take charge. Moreover, with Star and Moon's potential, it wouldn't be long before they could stand out in the outer sect. In the dark night, a crescent moon hung in the sky. Fang Chen hugged Star and Moon with his arms. The two sat on a blue stone at the peak of the mountain, looking down at the earth and enjoying the beautiful aura. "Brother Chen," Star and Moon said gently. Although she usually looked cold, she was very gentle towards Fang Chen. You don't have to worry. His master is the master of the Wuji sword sect," Fang Chen said. Hearing this, Star and Moon was very surprised. However, after seeing her husband's face, she nodded and felt gratified. "I will enter the inner sect in a few days. The inner sect seems to be sealed, so I might not be able to come out in a short period of time. If you have any problems, you can find the swordmaster," Fang Chen said. "Don't worry, the Star River province won't decline in my hands," Star and Moon said. In terms of ranking, the current Star River province could already be ranked second among the 73 branches, second only to Wen Kong's residence. Of course, this was because the Star River province's foundation wasn't enough. In time, it wasn't impossible for the Star River province to be ranked first. The Star River province was built by her husband, and it was he who worked hard to bring it to its current height. As soon as they walked down Purgatory Mountain, they felt a powerful fluctuation from the Star River province. Star and Moon definitely wouldn't allow the Star River province's ranking to fall. "You don't have to pressure yourself. Try to enter the inner sect as soon as possible," Fang Chen said. As Fang Chen spoke, he took out a spatial ring that he had prepared in advance and handed it to Star Moon. Such beautiful scenery, such beautiful scenery. This was probably what it meant. There are a large number of sacred spirit fish inside, as well as a sacred spirit fish king. "These are already useless to me, so you can take them," Fang Chen said. "I'll also leave the origin stone for you. Don't worry, the Star River province won't decline in my hands," Star and Moon said. Star and Moon took the spatial ring without saying anything. Sometimes, there was no need for words to understand each other's thoughts. This was what a husband and wife was like. Of course, Fang Chen also obtained many fused divine runes of order in the divine rune world, which he left for Star and Moon. With these resources, Star and Moon's cultivation speed would definitely increase greatly. Ling Shuang are cultivated in seclusion, and the destruction swordsman often honed himself in the sword puppet platform in the Infinite Sword Pagoda. Fang Chen could also cultivate in the inner sect without any worries. One day, Our family of 3 will be able to shake Eastern Profound Heaven and even Void Star Heaven. Fang Chen hugged Star and Moon and said with a smile. I believe in you, Star and Moon said. How about it? Fang Chen asked casually. A breeze blew, and the flowers and trees on the hillside rustled, bringing a hint of color to the silent night. Fang Chen raised Star and Moon's head, and his thick lips pressed against his wife's red lips. Immediately, Star and Moon's breathing became a bit rapid. There were many disciples in front of the boundless sky steely. Fang Chen's hands wandered around the latter's body. Such beautiful scenery, such beautiful scenery. This was probably what it meant. Early the next morning, Fang Chen found Swordmaster. Is everything done? Swordmaster asked. Thinking of those old guys who usually mocked him, Swordmaster was secretly delighted. Fang Chen nodded. Swordmaster said, Okay, I'll take you to the inner sect today. She was shouldering a lot of pressure. The entire Ling family had placed all their hopes on her. Swordmaster's voice was obviously filled with excitement. Fang Chen had broken countless records in the 10 years since he came to the outer sect. For such a genius to appear in the outer sect, Swordmaster was also proud. Thinking of those old guys who usually mocked him, Swordmaster was secretly delighted. Chapter 2202. Geniuses remember love in 1 second. We provide you with interesting novels to read. The top 3 sects in Eastern Xian Heaven were divided into inner and outer sects. This way, they could better form a talent echelon, and resources could be allocated and utilized more rationally. When Fang Chen released his aura, the blue-robed disciple was slightly startled. After all, such a big sect would definitely nurture absolute geniuses. He did not expect that his opponent would be a deity inscription realm martial artist. A sinister smile appeared on his face. The stronger one's talent, the more they would be nurtured. The stronger one's talent, the more they would be nurtured. In the eyes of outsiders, being able to enter the Limitless Sword Sect was already amazing. But in the eyes of the higher-ups of the Limitless Sword Sect, the outer sect was just a selection. The inner sect disciples were all Unity Realm martial artists, and there were many monstrous geniuses with heaven-defying potential. In the eyes of outsiders, being able to enter the Limitless Sword Sect was already amazing. The outer sect was just a fair opportunity for them to compete. If they could grasp this opportunity, they would be able to soar. The inner sect was the true core of the Limitless Sword Sect. Here, they would be able to obtain the best resources, and even some professional guidance. There were 73 branches in the outer sect, but there were not many who could truly stand out. It was even harder for outer sect disciples to enter the inner sect. But the Limitless Sword Sect was not worried. As long as they could maintain the advantage of the inner sect, they would be able to stabilize their position in Eastern Xian Heaven. This was Fang Chen's 2nd time entering the inner sect. The last time, he was asking for pills for his wife, and was brought in by the Swordmaster. Swordmaster, why are you here? The inner sect was the true core of the Limitless Sword Sect. Here, they would be able to obtain the best resources, and even some professional guidance. Just as he entered the inner sect, he met the alchemy madman Ling Danzi. The stronger one's talent, the more they would be nurtured. The number of inner sect disciples will always remain at this number. So if you want to establish yourself in the inner sect, you need to challenge the disciple who is ranked last. If you succeed, you can stay in the inner sect. The latter greeted the Swordmaster, and at the same time, saw Fang Chen. What? Are you here to ask me for more pills? Ling Danzi asked. Swordmaster chuckled and said proudly, Ling Danzi, you guessed wrong this time. Fang Chen has already obtained the sect master's permission and is qualified to enter the inner sect to cultivate. From now on, he will be an inner sect disciple. That's about it. Inner sect disciples have more freedom and aren't restricted by anything. However, before you enter the top 50, you are not allowed to leave the inner sect. Love go little say wk. This is also a form of protection for the disciples. However, to the higher-ups of the Wuji Sword Sect, the outer sect was just a form of selection. Hearing this, Ling Danzi was shocked. I will. Fang Chen's words were full of confidence. He remembered that the last time Fang Chen came to him to ask for medicinal pills was more than 10 years ago. However, in the blink of an eye, he had joined the inner sect. His main task was still to increase his strength. As for alchemy, he could only try it occasionally. In the eyes of outsiders, being able to join the Wuji sword sect was already very impressive. You little guy, you're pretty good. To be able to stand out in the outer sect in such a short time, you're amazing. Ling Danzi gave Fang Chen a thumbs up. However, Swordmaster's next words made Ling Danzi even more crazy. Ling Danzi, I'm afraid you've been immersed in alchemy and don't know what happened in the divine rune world, right? Swordmaster said with a smile. What happened? Ling Danzi asked. This time, an innate divine rune of order appeared in the divine rune world, Swordmaster said. Ling Danzi instantly widened his eyes and looked at Swordmaster in disbelief. He hurriedly asked, where did the innate divine rune of order go? Did anyone absorb it? Although there were some twists and turns along the way, and even the remnants of Tian Qing's clan mixed in to destroy the innate divine rune of order, in the end, it was successfully absorbed by a disciple of the Wuji sword sect. This matter caused a stir in the entire Dongxian heaven. Ling Danzi subconsciously looked at Fang Chen and hurriedly asked, you're not talking about him, right? Swordmaster nodded, yes, it's him. This, although there were some twists and turns along the way, and even the remnants of Tian Qing's clan mixed in to destroy the innate divine rune of order, in the end, it was successfully absorbed by a disciple of the Wuji sword sect. This matter caused a stir in the entire Dongxian heaven. Ling Danzi looked at Fang Chen, dumbfounded. His heart was in turmoil. The blue-clothed disciple took a few steps back, and his face turned serious. Did you really absorb the innate divine rune of order? Ling Danzi hurriedly asked. Fang Chen gently nodded. Ling Danzi had completely gone crazy. He grabbed Fang Chen's shoulder and said, how about becoming my disciple? This time, it was Swordmaster's turn to be stunned. Ling Danzi was an alchemy grandmaster of the inner sect. He usually ignored everyone, and even the sect master couldn't do anything about him. But now, he actually took the initiative to accept Fang Chen as his disciple. Junior promised Senior that as long as I joined the inner sect, I would be Senior's alchemy boy for a few years. Love go little say, Chu Fang Chen said. Elder Long left as well. His main task was to improve his strength. As for alchemy, he could only try it occasionally. Which alchemy grandmaster in history didn't succeed after countless trials and tribulations? He didn't think that his potential was so strong that he could master it immediately. Very well. You don't want to be my disciple? Are you looking down on me? Ling Danzi pulled a long face and said in a deep voice. Ling Danzi, why force Fang Chen? He just joined the inner sect. Why don't you give him some time to adapt? Besides, he agreed to be your alchemy boy. Isn't that a good start? After Swordmaster's persuasion, Ling Danzi finally stopped forcing Fang Chen. Kid, remember to report to me. After speaking, Ling Danzi turned and left. That's about it. Inner sect disciples have more freedom and aren't bound by any restrictions. But before you enter the top 50, you can't leave the inner sect. This is a kind of protection for the disciples. Congratulations. Swordmaster smiled. He wasn't worried that Fang Chen would lose at all. Work hard and reach the top of the inner sect as soon as possible. Ignore him. That's his temper. Swordmaster said. Then, he brought Fang Chen to find Elder Long, who was in charge of the inner sect disciples' daily lives. This must be Fang Chen? Elder Long said with a smile. Fang Chen defeated his opponent and was now an official inner sect disciple. Brother Long, this is the treasure of the outer sect. Please take care of him. Swordmaster said. Don't worry. The sect leader has already informed me. Elder Long patted his chest and said. Let me introduce you to the inner sect. Elder Long looked at Fang Chen and said slowly. The inner sect has a total of 100 disciples. Ever since the Wuji sword sect was founded, this number has been fixed. Every time an outer sect disciple enters the inner sect, there will be an inner sect disciple who leaves. Ling Danzi, why force Fang Chen? He just entered the inner sect. Why don't you give him some time to adjust? Besides, he agreed to be your alchemy boy. Isn't this a good start? Fang Chen listened carefully. The number of inner sect disciples will always remain at this number. So if you want to establish yourself in the inner sect, you need to challenge the disciple who is ranked last. If you succeed, you can stay in the inner sect. Soon, Fang Chen understood what Elder Long meant. That's about it. Inner sect disciples have more freedom and are not restricted by anything. However, before you enter the top 50, you are not allowed to leave the inner sect. This is a form of protection for the disciples. Elder Long said, the sect used all its resources to cultivate a disciple. If he was killed the moment he stepped out, it would be a great loss. After briefly introducing Fang Chen, Elder Long brought Fang Chen to a square. I've already contacted that disciple. He will be here soon. Get ready. After a while, a man in blue walked to the square. His face was gloomy. Being ranked last in the inner sect was an embarrassing matter. However, to the upper echelons of the Wuji sword sect, the outer sect was just a selection. Now, an outer sect disciple wanted to challenge him. If he failed, he would have to leave the inner sect. This was not something he wanted to see. Don't go too far, Elder Long said. The disciple in blue stood in the middle of the square and stared at Fang Chen with his dark eyes. Divine Inscription Realm? When Fang Chen released his aura, the disciple in blue was slightly shocked. He didn't expect that his opponent would be a Divine Inscriptions Realm cultivator. A sinister smile appeared on his face. However, to the upper echelons of the Wuji sword sect, the outer sect was just a selection. A mere Divine Inscription Realm martial artist wanted to enter the inner sect. Was he out of his mind? After the two collided, Fang Chen's fist radiance was blocked. Make your move. He cupped his hands at Fang Chen and said. Boom. Fang Chen did not say anything. He activated the myriad sword body and punched out with a violent fist. He remembered that the last time Fang Chen asked him for elixir pills was more than 10 years ago. Dong. After the two collided, Fang Chen's fist radiance was blocked. The disciple in blue took a few steps back and his face turned serious. Your strength is not bad, but I wonder how your sword skills are. The blue-robed disciple wielded a long sword and performed an exquisite divine technique. With a flick of his wrist, beams of unimaginable sword light shot out from the long sword. Traceless Sword Principle. Fang Chen also displayed the third level of the Traceless Sword Principle. The transparent sword radiance collided with the countless sword radiances in the sky. Catcher. A deafening sound came from the explosion. His heart was surging with waves of shock. Seeing this scene, Fang Chen released the innate order divine pattern with a thought. Wang. Life in the inner sect has just begun. A terrifying pressure instantly spread out. The pressure from the depths of the primordial spirit made the disciple in blue lose his mind temporarily. When he woke up, Fang Chen's hidden star sword was already at his neck. Swordmaster, what are you doing here? This, Wang. He couldn't accept the reality in front of him. When Fang Chen released his aura, the disciple in blue was also slightly stunned. Boom. What kind of divine inscription is that? It can actually suppress the power in my body? This time, an innate order divine inscription has appeared in the divine inscription world, the Swordmaster said. His heart was surging with waves of shock. Very good. What kind of divine inscription is that? It can actually suppress the power in my body? Elder Long, who was in shock, was full of praise for Fang Chen after he recovered from his shock. A deafening sound came from the explosion. The innate order divine inscription was too powerful. Even he was shocked. The number of inner sect disciples will always remain at this number. Therefore, if you want to establish yourself in the inner sect, you need to challenge the disciple who is ranked last. If you succeed, you can stay in the inner sect. Fang Chen defeated his opponent and was now an official disciple of the inner sect. Congratulations. The sword master smiled. He wasn't worried that Fang Chen would lose at all. Work hard in your cultivation and strive to reach the top of the inner sect as soon as possible. I will. Fang Chen's words were filled with confidence. Elder Long nodded and brought Fang Chen to his residence. After everything was arranged, the sword master returned to the outer sect. Elder Long left as well. In the huge pavilion, there was only Fang Chen alone. He stood in the middle of the courtyard with the hidden star sword in his hand. He looked up at the blue sky and his heart was calm. His face darkened. Being ranked last in the inner sect was an embarrassing matter in itself. Chapter 2203. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with interesting novels to read. Duan Morlong and Duan Yunlong of the Black and White Mansion colluded with outsiders and tried to kill our disciples. When Fang Chen returned to the Wuji sword sect, they knew that the end had come. Outer sect. The swordmaster's figure suddenly appeared above the Black and White Mansion. Duan Morlong and Duan Yunlong of the Black and White Mansion colluded with outsiders and tried to kill our disciples. The swordmaster's judgment spread throughout the outer sect. All the disciples were shocked as they looked at the swordmaster above the Black and White Mansion. Colluding with outsiders and trying to kill their own disciples was a taboo in the Wuji sword sect. They did not expect Duan Morlong and Duan Yunlong to do so. This, in the Black and White Mansion, Duan Yunlong and Duan Morlong's faces were ashen. When Fang Chen returned to the Wuji sword sect, they knew that the end had come. Now, they only hoped that the swordmaster would not implicate the entire Black and White Mansion. Poochie. They had no choice. They could not go back on their word. In the sky, 2 rays of light flashed and disappeared. Duan Yunlong and Duan Morlong's bodies fell to the ground. The swordmaster was too overbearing. No one in the Black and White Mansion dared to make a sound. The swordmaster's judgment represented the will of the Wuji sword sect. They trembled as they waited for the swordmaster to show mercy. Junior brother, do we really have to fall out with them? Someone asked in a low voice. Fang Chen looked at Ling Danzi seriously. He realized that Ling Danzi's breathing was a little rapid. Cancel 1 year's worth of cultivation resources for the Black and White Mansion. If they do it again, there is no need for the Black and White Mansion to continue existing. The swordmaster's voice rang out clearly. After that, the swordmaster disappeared. The incident of the Black and White Mansion caused an uproar in the outer sect. Many people suspected that the Black and White Mansion colluded with outsiders to assassinate their own disciple, Fang Chen of the Galaxy Mansion. Whoosh. At the same time, they looked at the Galaxy Mansion with fear. In just a few short years, the Galaxy Mansion had become a place. Inner sect. Fang Chen casually flipped through the books on the stone table. These books introduced the inner sect. However, before he could finish reading, he was called over by Ling Danzi. He said that he wanted to concoct a cauldron of pills and needed the assistance of an alchemist apprentice. He had no choice. He couldn't go back on his promise. Just like that, Fang Chen was dragged to the elixir hall by Ling Danzi. I've already prepared all the materials. Just watch from the side. I'll let you know if I need anything. Ling Danzi said, when I'm refining pills, remember not to disturb me. With that, Ling Danzi ignored Fang Chen and began to refine pills. Boom. Wild flames danced in Ling Danzi's palm. Fang Chen could feel that the power of this flame was very strong. If this flame was used on a Divine Inscriptions realm martial artist, it should be able to instantly burn him to ashes, right? Fang Chen thought to himself. He could be considered to be somewhat involved in the Tao of alchemy. He was able to understand some of Ling Danzi's alchemy techniques. Time flew by. Ling Danzi's pill refining process was unexpectedly smooth. Seeing that the pill was about to take shape, there was only 1 step left. A half-finished pill suddenly fell out of the flames. Only the will in his heart persisted in refining pills. At this moment, there was a slight surprise. You also know about the Tao of alchemy? Ling Danzi asked. Ling Danzi's palm suddenly trembled. Then, because the flame was not uniform enough, the pills in the cauldron collided violently and were about to shatter. Sorry, I can't do it. Fang Chen refused. Damn it. Ling Danzi cursed in his heart. Immediately, he waved his hand and took out the pills in the cauldron. 7 pills were suspended in the air side by side. In Ling Danzi's hands, the flames were hot and directly enveloped the 7 pills. Hiss. He was using a domineering method to reverse the situation. Fang Chen watched carefully and found that Ling Danzi's breathing seemed to be a little rapid. Yes, you can freely enter and leave the elixir hall. This means that Senior Ling Danzi has a good relationship with you. How about it? Can you ask for a pill for me? Don't worry, if it's successful, I will definitely not treat you badly. What's going on? Fang Chen hurriedly approached Ling Danzi and asked, Senior, are you okay? At this moment, Ling Danzi was somewhat speechless and looked confused. Only the will in his heart persisted in refining pills. Whoosh! A half-finished pill suddenly fell out of the flames. At this moment, Ling Danzi's body had an accident and he had no time to care about it. He could only continue to refine the other 6 pills. Oh no! Fang Chen's hand was quick and caught the half-finished pill. A hot aura drilled into his palm. Fang Chen's mind moved and an extremely dense immortal flame suddenly appeared in his palm. This was the mutated immortal flame and it was very powerful. Although it was not as strong as Ling Danzi's flame, it could barely maintain the formation of the pills. Whoosh! Whoosh! As time passed, Fang Chen's forehead was full of sweat and his clothes were soaked. One had to know that this was a heaven-opening pill. He could not maintain it for a long time. A few disciples blocked Fang Chen's path once again. Their eyes flickered with a complicated look. After a long time, he felt dizzy, but he gritted his teeth and persevered. His new. But how did he enter the elixir hall? On the other side, Ling Danzi's body finally recovered. He waved his hand and immediately put the 6 colorful pills into his bag. At this moment, he turned his head to look at Fang Chen and was obviously stunned. This guy. Ling Danzi did not know whether to laugh or cry. He took the pills that Fang Chen refined and quickly refined them. Whoosh! He was somewhat involved in alchemy. With that, the sword master disappeared. Fang Chen sat on the ground and felt a little weak. You know alchemy too? Ling Danzi asked. He could tell at a glance that Fang Chen actually knew alchemy. Otherwise, the pills would have shattered long ago. I know a little. Fang Chen panted. Senior, are the pills okay? Ling Danzi's face changed, then he said, it's an old problem. The pills are fine. Fortunately, you blocked it in time. Otherwise, the pills would have shattered long ago. Oh no. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Fang Chen refused. Hiss. Ling Danzi's attitude towards Fang Chen improved a lot. Fang Chen heard this and nodded gently, then said, Senior, what's wrong with your body? Ling Danzi's face changed, then he said, it's an old problem. After saying that, he walked straight outside. There's nothing else today. You can go back. Outside the elixir hall. At this moment, there was a slight accident. There were several inner sect disciples in line, wanting to see Ling Danzi. All the disciples were shocked and looked at the swordmaster above the black-white mansion. Creak. One had to know that this was a heaven-opening pill. He couldn't maintain it for a long time. Seeing this, the disciples were a little disappointed. The door opened, and Fang Chen walked out. Seeing this, the disciples were a little disappointed. This person looks so unfamiliar. Is he a new alchemy apprentice? Should be. Judging from his aura, he's only in the divine inscription realm. Everyone, please go back. Senior Ling Danzi doesn't want to see any guests. 7 pills floated in the air side by side. In Ling Danzi's hands, flames burned and enveloped the 7 pills. After saying that, Fang Chen walked out of the door. On the other side, Ling Danzi's body finally recovered. With a wave of his hand, he put the 6 pills into his bag. Whoosh! Fang Chen sat on the ground, feeling a little exhausted. At this moment, a few disciples caught up and stopped Fang Chen. Little brother, can you put in a few good words for Senior Ling Danzi and let us meet? Yeah, you're Senior Ling Danzi's alchemy apprentice. You should be able to do such a small thing, right? As they spoke, they handed some origin stones to Fang Chen. Fang Chen was stunned. Were they trying to bribe him? His expression changed, and then he said, Senior brothers, I'm an inner sect disciple. Following this, the expressions of the disciples changed instantly. After saying that, Fang Chen no longer paid attention to these people, turned around, and left. Little brother, can you put in a few good words for Senior Ling Danzi and let us meet? What? He's an inner sect disciple. He's new. But how did he get into the alchemy hall? Oh no. These disciples didn't have time to think about how a divine inscription realm cultivator could get into the inner sect. Their thoughts were all on Ling Danzi. Creak. Whoosh. A few disciples blocked Fang Chen's path once again. Their eyes flickered with a complicated look. If you don't help us, don't even think about leaving today. We'll show you the cruelty of the inner sect. Junior brother, since you're an inner sect disciple, it's even easier. Yeah, you can enter and leave the alchemy hall freely. This means that you have a good relationship with Senior Ling Danzi. How about it? Can you ask for a pill for me? Don't worry, if it's successful, I won't mistreat you. Fang Chen frowned. He was a little unhappy. He didn't like the look on their faces. There was a threatening tone in their words. One had to know that this was a heaven-opening pill. He couldn't maintain it for a long time. Sorry, I can't do it. Fang Chen refused. Following this, the expressions of the disciples changed instantly. Junior brother, do you know that if you don't have a backer in the inner sect, you won't be able to do anything? One of them revealed his true face and said coldly. Since he wasn't Ling Danzi's alchemy apprentice, they had nothing to fear. In the inner sect, it was normal for the older disciples to bully the newer disciples. Even the higher-ups and elders would turn a blind eye to it. This was the mutated undying flame. It was very powerful. Yeah, if you help us, we'll protect you in the future. If you don't help us, don't even think about leaving today. We'll show you the cruelty of the inner sect. Fang Chen raised his head and swept his pitch-black eyes across the disciples. He's new. But how did he enter the alchemy hall? Then, he said calmly, so, are you threatening me? Junior brother, I advise you not to refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. It's not a threat. I'm just telling you the truth. Junior brother, I advise you not to refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Fang Chen sneered and said, do you believe that if I tell Senior Ling Danzi about this right now, you will never be able to obtain Senior Ling Danzi's pills in the future? Hearing this, the disciples' expressions changed. They were in a dilemma. He didn't like the look on their faces. There was a threatening tone in their words. Junior brother, do we have to fall out? One of them asked in a low voice. The door opened and Fang Chen walked out. Chapter 2204. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little. Say Web, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Recently, I've been mentally and physically exhausted. I feel very, very tired. Indulge me. Today, I only have 3 chapters to update in the afternoon. Indulge me. Today, I only have 3 chapters to update in the afternoon. Whether I understand it or not, I still have to put real life first. Writing is my extra income. I can't wait to write 1,000,000 words a day, because the more you work, the more you get. But, reality is like this. Sometimes, I even have the thought of giving up writing. But, in the end, I still have to support my family. No matter how heavy the burden on my shoulders is, I have to carry it. Love Go Little Say Web W yesterday is repeated every day, and I feel like my whole body is going numb. Especially recently, I go to work during the day and come back at night to write, and then I have to help take care of the child. But, reality is like this. Although there are parents and family members to help, in the end, it's still my child. I have to fulfill the responsibility of a father. Sometimes, I even have the thought of giving up writing. But, in the end, I still have to support my family. No matter how heavy the burden on my shoulders is, I have to carry it. Now that prices are skyrocketing, raising a child is very stressful. I didn't feel it before, but after becoming a parent, I realized that raising a child is really not as easy as I thought. So, I can only make as much money as possible. That's all. Those who say that I'm always looking for excuses to not update are actually wrong. I want to update more than anyone else. I want to earn more money to support my family more than anyone else. Chapter 2205. Genius 1 second remember love divided by go divided by little. We provide you with interesting novels to read. Reality was cruel, and so was the path of martial arts. Love go little say Webku in order to get what they wanted, most martial artists would do anything. One had to know that Fang Chen was the first monstrous genius to have absorbed an innate divine pattern of order. When he was in the void realm, he broke the record in the chaotic void. Now that they had finally met an inner sect disciple who was on good terms with Ling Danzi, they naturally did not want to let go of this opportunity. So what if they were from the same sect? The competition for resources in the inner sect was very fierce. As a powerful alchemist in the inner sect, the elixirs that Ling Danzi made were hard to get. Moreover, Ling Danzi had a weird personality. He did not even give face to the Swordmaster and the others. It was difficult for ordinary inner sect disciples to ask to see Ling Danzi. Is there such a good thing? Even so, many disciples would wait at the entrance of the elixir hall every day in order to get their elixirs, hoping that Ling Danzi would see them when he walked out. Now that they had finally met an inner sect disciple who was on good terms with Ling Danzi, they naturally did not want to let go of this opportunity. However, after hearing Fang Chen's words, they had to reconsider. If he told Ling Danzi about this, the consequences would be unimaginable. Junior brother, it's pointless for you to do this. We were just joking with you. Fang Chen nodded his head in satisfaction and sat down on the stone bench. The inner sect disciples finally decided to compromise. They had no choice. They were also afraid that Fang Chen would tell on them. Fang Chen glanced at them and turned to leave. In the spacious courtyard stood a luxurious pavilion. It was difficult for ordinary inner sect disciples to ask to see Ling Danzi. Inside the pavilion, there was an endless stream of origin energy surging out. Fang Chen could see that there was a huge origin energy gathering formation around the pavilion. The origin energy gathering formation could gather the origin energy of heaven and earth in the courtyard, allowing the disciples to absorb it all the time. He could sense that the origin energy in the courtyard was at least 5 times more than the outside world. Of course, this was because the energy gathering array wasn't very advanced. According to Fang Chen's conjecture, this energy gathering formation was, at most, a high-grade heaven-piercing energy gathering formation. If I can raise it to the peak level, the power of the origin source will at least double. Fang Chen said to himself. Now that it was doubled, it meant that after the upgrade, the source energy here would be 10 times higher than the outside world. This was definitely a terrifying number. Fang Chen's eyes swept across the energy gathering formation. With a single glance, he saw through the inner workings of the energy gathering formation. Then, he formed different seals with his hands and quickly modified the circulation of the energy gathering formation. With his current formation's Tao attainments, modifying this level of origin gathering array was still very easy. Voila! A moment later, Fang Chen upgraded the energy gathering formation to the pinnacle of the heavenly ascension level. Elder Long Fang Chen greeted. Hoo. They had no choice. They were afraid that Fang Chen would tell on them. The berserk origin energy continued to wreak havoc. His body was rapidly absorbing it. According to Fang Chen's conjecture, this energy gathering formation was, at most, a high-grade heaven-piercing energy gathering formation. 10 times. Cosmos gods absorbed the origin energy in the air to increase their strength. This kind of source energy that existed all the time could greatly speed up a warrior's cultivation. Fang Chen nodded in satisfaction and sat on the stone stool. With his current formation's Tao attainments, modifying this level of energy gathering formation was very easy. And in front of him stood more than 20 inner sect disciples. Even though deity inscriptions realm warriors are stronger the more deity imprints of order they condense. But to me, it is completely unnecessary. Fang Chen thought to himself. The current him was already an apex deity inscriptions realm expert. His strength was comparable to a unity realm expert. Just a single innate deity imprint of order was sufficient to kill all deity inscriptions realm experts in the entire primal chaos void. Hence, his current goal was to increase his overall strength while breaking through to the unity realm. Only by stepping into the unity realm would he be able to gain a firm foothold in the inner sect. Currently, This was a more important matter. Black Devil weapon with dragon blood priced at 20,000 middle-grade origin stones. After briefly sorting out his thoughts, Fang Chen confirmed his next cultivation goal. Firstly, he had to find a Soul Dao Cosmos-ranked divine technique. His primordial spirit had reached the 6th origin realm. If he had a suitable Cosmos-ranked divine technique, his Soul Dao energy would be able to resist against Unity realm experts. Secondly, he had to find a body-tempering divine technique. His myriad sword body had reached the 4th level. The further it went, the harder it was to improve. If he had a suitable body-tempering divine technique, there was still hope for him to continue improving it. Especially the myriad sword domain. If he could cultivate it to the peak, he could seal the surrounding void with a thought. It would be a huge help to his strength. So what if they were from the same sect? The competition for resources in the inner sect was very intense. Thirdly, his traceless sword technique had already reached the 3rd level. Fang Chen could faintly feel that he could make some subtle changes to his traceless sword technique. Actually, he wanted to create the follow-up sword moves of his traceless sword technique. Fang Chen glanced at it before ignoring it. Fourth, it was naturally the hidden star sword. In a battle between experts, the weapon was very important. Hence, Fang Chen wanted to improve in all aspects. Naturally, he could not neglect his weapon. His goal was a top-grade Cosmos-ranked weapon. To put it simply, these were the 4 goals he had in mind in the short term. The 3rd goal was the hardest. The traceless sword technique was the peak divine technique of the outer sect of the limitless sword sect. No one had been able to cultivate it for 10 billion years. Even though he was lucky enough to cultivate it, it was too difficult to modify or create a follow-up sword move. Of course, it did not mean that it was impossible. One had to know that Fang Chen was the first freak to absorb an innate divine rune of order. Furthermore, when he was in the Void Realm, he broke the record of the primal chaos void. Other than the 3rd goal, the other 3 goals were much easier. There were many resources in the limitless sword sect. If he wanted to obtain them, he had to pay a high price. Of course, the price was nothing more than origin stones. Sorry, I just came to the inner sect not long ago, Fang Chen said apologetically. After sorting out the information, Fang Chen felt that his mind was much clearer. After looking at a few top-grade Cosmos-ranked weapons, Fang Chen could not help but be speechless. If I can complete these 4 missions, it is possible for me to be in the top 10 of the inner sect, Fang Chen said with a grin. After resting for a night, Fang Chen went to find Elder Long early the next morning. Elder Long, Fang Chen greeted. Are you used to the inner sect? Elder Long smiled and asked, I heard that you were dragged by Ling Danzi to be an elixir apprentice yesterday. Fang Chen nodded lightly and did not explain too much. He then asked, Elder Long, do we have a blacksmith master in the inner sect? I would like to raise the grade of my weapon. Go take a look at the weapon hall. You can find what you need there, Elder Long said. Soon, Fang Chen arrived at the weapon hall. In the luxurious pavilion, the 1st floor was filled with middle-grade and high-grade Cosmos-ranked weapons. Fang Chen glanced at them and ignored them. He went to the 2nd floor. There were some top-grade Cosmos-ranked weapons here, but their prices were ridiculously high. Black Demonic Dragon Blood Weapon, 20,000 middle-grade origin stones. Cosmos gods absorbed the origin energy in the air to increase their strength. This kind of source energy that existed all the time could greatly speed up a warrior's cultivation. Soul Essence Overflowing Moon Sword, 15,000 mid-grade origin stones. After looking at a few top-grade Cosmos-ranked weapons, Fang Chen could not help but be speechless. According to Fang Chen's estimation, this origin gathering array was at most a high-grade transcending heaven gathering array. He'd only gotten 10,000 mid-grade origin stones from the barnfish, but a random supreme-grade universe-class weapon was worth more than that. Fang Chen's eyes swept across the origin gathering array. He could see through the internal structure of the origin gathering array with a single glance. Hua la, yi. Just as Fang Chen was pondering, he suddenly saw a notice not too far away. After seeing the contents of the notice, Fang Chen's face revealed a smile. He then quickly walked over to the notice. The 4th was naturally the hidden star sword. In a battle between experts, weapons were very important. Thus, Fang Chen wanted to improve in all aspects. Weapons could not be neglected. His goal was a top-grade Cosmos-ranked weapon. The contents of the notice were roughly that Black Iron Master wanted to refine a large number of top-grade Cosmos-ranked weapons and needed some assistance. However, there were requirements. Their attainments in the Tao of weapon refinement had to reach a certain level. After that, Daoist Black Iron would select 3 disciples to be his assistants. The most attractive thing was that Black Iron Master had promised many benefits. Especially the last one. He would unconditionally agree to one request of the disciple who had helped him the most during the refinement process. After this notice was released, the inner sect disciples went crazy. Black Iron Master was a heaven-opening level weapon refiner. His weapon refinement skills were very high. Soon, Fang Chen arrived at the weapon hall. After resting for a night, Fang Chen went to find Elder Long early the next morning. If he could get a promise from him, it would be a huge gain. Is there such a good deal? Are you used to the inner sect? Elder Long asked with a smile. I heard that Ling Danzi took you to be an alchemy apprentice yesterday. Fang Chen was secretly delighted. He immediately went to find a staff member and expressed his desire to sign up. Why are you so late? There are still 2 hours before the deadline for the notice is over. The staff member handed Fang Chen a token and recorded his information. Sorry, I just came to the inner sect not long ago. Fang Chen said apologetically. After resting for a night, Fang Chen went to find Elder Long early the next morning. If he told Ling Danzi about this, the consequences would be unimaginable. The staff member looked at him in surprise and shook his head. Even if you sign up, you will only be cannon fodder. Fang Chen remained silent. All right, Black Iron Master is in the backyard of the weapon hall. The other disciples have already arrived. You should hurry over. Following the staff member's instructions, Fang Chen quickly arrived at the backyard. He immediately saw an old man in a black robe standing in the middle. He should be Black Iron Master, an expert on the same level as Ling Danzi. The inner sect disciples finally decided to compromise. Now that they finally met an inner sect disciple who had a good relationship with Ling Danzi, they naturally did not want to let go of this opportunity. After sorting out the information, Fang Chen felt that his mind was much clearer. Chapter 2206. Genius 1 second. Remember, love goes small? Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Fang Chen stood in the last row of the crowd. Seeing this, Daoist Black Iron gently nodded and said, a total of 23 people. 20 will be eliminated, and 3 will be selected. Daoist Black Iron's temper was relatively mild, unlike Ling Danzi, who scolded at the slightest disagreement. The long sword's body was very smooth, and traces of sword energy surrounded it. If you want to be my assistant, you must at least have some understanding of the Tao of refining. This sword is a test for you. Each of you, come forward and sense it to see if you can see its grade. Daoist Black Iron pointed at the black long sword and said slowly, I'll give it a try. The first warrior cupped his fists towards Daoist Black Iron and walked to the front of the long sword. He stretched out his hands and grasped the hilt. He closed his eyes and carefully sensed it. A moment later, the disciple opened his eyes and said with a touch of joy on his face, although its aura is very obscure, I think it's a top-grade universal weapon. Next. Daoist Black Iron didn't comment on this and directly called out. Next, 23 people continuously walked to the front of the long sword to sense it. Some said it was a low-grade universal weapon, some said it was a middle grade, and some even said it was a high-grade one. Daoist Black Iron, are you saying that this long sword has no grade? Blue Brick hurriedly asked. Generally speaking, most people said it was a top-grade universal weapon. The whole process took about half an hour. Finally, it was Fang Chen's turn. Like the others, he walked to the front of the long sword and grasped it. Buzz. Disciple Fang Chen will do his best to assist Daoist Black Iron. Fang Chen cupped his fists. Myriad sword body quietly operated. Before this, Fang Chen had been speculating through each disciple's test. There's no aura. Fang Chen's first reaction was that this long sword was very ordinary. There was no aura on the outside, and even the inside didn't have a trace of aura. But how can Daoist Black Iron's item be ordinary? Fang Chen didn't dare to imagine and continued to explore. After being berated by Daoist Black Iron, everyone's body trembled. They hurriedly stopped talking and cautiously looked at Daoist Black Iron. Daoist Black Iron, are you saying that this long sword has no grade? Blue Brick hurriedly asked. During this time, the body of 10,000 swords was constantly operating, helping Fang Chen to sense the information of the long sword. After a long time, Fang Chen gently put down the long sword with a smile on his face. This is the most ordinary sword, it has no rank. Fang Chen's words caused an uproar. Many disciples looked at Fang Chen mockingly, and some of them even scolded him. Kid, don't talk nonsense if you don't know anything. That's right. You actually said that Daoist Black Iron's things don't have a grade. What a joke. I'm willing to bet that the aura of this long sword was intentionally erased by Daoist Black Iron. Several disciples arrogantly lectured Fang Chen, trying to show their superiority as much as possible. Daoist Black Iron looked at Fang Chen with interest. His pitch-black eyes moved as he calmly asked, "Why do you say that?" Fang Chen slightly bowed towards Daoist Black Iron and said, "This is the weapon hall. How could there be a low-grade weapon in Daoist Black Iron's courtyard? This is the normal line of thought of ordinary people. Everyone can't sense the aura of the weapon, but they all ruled out the possibility of what I just said. They believe that this long sword must have been made by Daoist Black Iron, so it's extraordinary. Since they can't sense its aura, it means that it's very powerful." Having said that, Fang Chen paused for a moment before continuing. "I didn't believe my own inference at first, but after careful consideration, I'm even more convinced that this was done intentionally by Daoist Black Iron." After saying that, Fang Chen's pitch-black eyes met Daoist Black Iron's. The latter's face was very calm as he turned to look at the others. Daoist Black Iron ignored Blue Brick and turned to look at Fang Chen, asking, "You should be a new disciple, right? What's your name? What do you think?" Daoist Black Iron, "This kid is full of nonsense. He's not qualified to be the assistant back then." The person who spoke was dressed in a blue robe. He came from the Blue Moon universe and was called Blue Brick. The reason why the Blue Moon Mansion's disciples were so arrogant and despotic was related to Blue Brick. They believed that with the protection of the inner sect disciples, no one in the outer sect would dare to touch them. However, because of their arrogance and despotism, they suffered a great loss in the end. As an inner sect disciple, Blue Brick naturally knew what happened in the outer sect's Blue Moon Mansion. Elder Blue had already sent a message to him, saying that Fang Chen had entered the inner sect, and he was also paying attention. Today, after seeing Fang Chen, killing intent rose in his heart. Shortly after, he berated, "Shut up." At this moment, with such a good opportunity, he naturally didn't hesitate to attack Fang Chen. Today, after seeing Fang Chen, killing intent rose in his heart. "That's right, I think Senior Brother Blue Brick is right. We also support Senior Brother Blue Brick. This brat's existence is the greatest insult to Daoist Black Iron. Moreover, his point of view is correct. The ones who are truly ignorant are you. Hurry up and get out of the weapon hall. It's too embarrassing." The disciples who spoke were all jackals of the same tribe as Blue Brick. Daoist Black Iron frowned slightly. He shook his head, and a trace of disappointment flashed across his eyes. Fang Chen's first reaction was that this long sword was very ordinary. There was no aura on the outside, and there wasn't even a trace of aura on the inside. Shortly after, he berated, "Shut up." After being berated by Daoist Black Iron, everyone's body trembled. They hurriedly stopped talking and looked at Daoist Black Iron carefully. Daoist Black Iron's refining skills were very strong. With his eyesight, he could see Fang Chen's talent in refining at a glance. "When you talk about others, have you ever thought that your point of view might be wrong?" Daoist Black Iron said, "Even if it's not wrong, what right do you have to talk about others? The Tao of refining and the Tao of martial arts are essentially the same. They both require constant exploration and constant progress." This disciple only boldly spoke out his thoughts. What's wrong with that? Many disciples fell into silence. Moreover, his point of view is correct. The ones who are truly ignorant are you. Daoist Black Iron frowned slightly. He shook his head, and a trace of disappointment flashed across his eyes. Daoist Black Iron's words surprised Blue Brick and the others. Fang Chen alone is enough. Daoist Black Iron, are you saying that this longsword doesn't have a grade? Blue Brick hurriedly asked. Daoist Black Iron ignored Blue Brick and turned to look at Fang Chen. He asked, you should be a new disciple, right? What's your name? The latter's face was very calm as he turned to look at the others. My name is Fang Chen. Daoist Black Iron's words surprised Blue Brick and the others. After a long time, Fang Chen gently put down the long sword, and a trace of a smile appeared on his face. Daoist Black Iron nodded with satisfaction. Have you dabbled in the Tao of refining before? When I was in the miniature universe, I was an absolute god-level swordsmith. However, after coming to the Wuji sword sect, I've been busy cultivating, so I didn't put any effort into it, Fang Chen said truthfully. After speaking, Daoist Black Iron ignored Blue Brick and the others. Disciple Fang Chen will definitely do his best to assist Daoist Black Iron. Fang Chen clasped his fists. Not bad. An absolute god-level swordsmith with such high comprehension. If you're interested, you can join our weapon hall. Fang Chen's first reaction was that this longsword was very ordinary. There was no aura on the outside, and even the inside didn't have a trace of aura. Hearing this, Blue Brick and the others' eyes were filled with envy. They couldn't join even if they wanted to, but this damn guy was actually personally invited by Daoist Black Iron. Thank you for your kindness, Daoist Black Iron, but I don't want to join the weapon hall for the time being. Fang Chen tactfully refused. Daoist Black Iron didn't get angry. With a wave of his hand, a pile of materials appeared on the crafting table. These materials are enough for you to forge a true god weapon. Go ahead and forge it. Let me see your standard. When you talk about others, have you ever thought that your point of view could be wrong? After speaking, Daoist Black Iron ignored Blue Brick and the others. Fang Chen nodded and walked up to the crafting table. Then, he began to refine according to the prescribed procedure. In the courtyard, Blue Brick and the others' eyes flashed with cold killing intent. Humph, displaying your slight skill in front of an expert. I want to see what ability you have. Black Iron, hiss. As time passed, Fang Chen's movements became bigger and bigger. In the beginning, Daoist Black Iron's face was calm and emotionless. However, when the weapon was about to take shape, Daoist Black Iron's calm face flashed with a trace of surprise. Immediately, he sized up Fang Chen's crafting technique seriously. An absolute god-level swordsmith actually has such a crafting technique. Daoist Black Iron thought to himself, this lad has great potential in crafting. Daoist Black Iron's crafting technique was very strong. With his eyesight, he could see Fang Chen's talent in crafting at a glance. Very soon, Fang Chen refined a superior-grade true god artifact longsword. The longsword's body was very smooth, and traces of sword chi surrounded it. Daoist Black Iron didn't observe the long sword, but turned to look at Blue Brick and the others. My name is Fang Chen. Alright, you can all go back. Daoist Black Iron, didn't you want to choose 3 people? Who did you choose? Let us be prepared. Blue Brick asked. Daoist Black Iron frowned, somewhat displeased. Fang Chen alone is enough. After speaking, Daoist Black Iron ignored Blue Brick and the others. Black Iron, they wanted to explain, but seeing Daoist Black Iron's expression, they hurriedly left the courtyard. You have a unique understanding of crafting, and your crafting technique is very good. From the crafting just now, I can see your potential. With your level, you actually have the qualifications to join the weapon hall. Daoist Black Iron said. Originally, I was going to choose 3 people as assistants, but after seeing you craft, I feel that you alone are enough. But, would Daoist Black Iron's items be ordinary? Disciple Fang Chen will definitely assist Daoist Black Iron with all his strength. Fang Chen cupped his fists. The few disciples arrogantly lectured Fang Chen, trying to show their superiority as much as possible. Daoist Black Iron nodded with satisfaction, and was about to speak. Time passed bit by bit, and Fang Chen's hand movements became bigger and bigger. Suddenly, a deranged laughter was heard, and Ling Danzi appeared. "Old monster Ling, why are you here?" But, would Daoist Black Iron's items be ordinary? Suddenly, a deranged laughter was heard, and Ling Danzi appeared. "If I didn't come, you would have kidnapped my alchemy apprentice." Chapter 2207. Genius 1 second. Remember love go small? Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. A few days later, Fang Chen received the summons of Daoist Black Iron. Daoist Black Iron's wrist shook, and the hidden star sword streaked across the void. When he arrived at the courtyard of the weapon hall, Daoist Black Iron and another young man were waiting for him. "Fang Chen, let me introduce you. This is the Fang Jinghu I told you about. He has already agreed to take out the blood tear stone for you to use." Daoist Black Iron introduced. "Many thanks, senior brother Fang." Fang Chen cupped his fists and thanked him. It was not easy for an early-stage Unity Realm disciple to have 10,000 mid-grade origin stones. Fang Jinghu carefully observed Fang Chen and lightly nodded. "I've heard Daoist say that junior brother is very outstanding. Today, I've seen you in person. Your matter has already spread throughout the inner sect. The current you should be considered a celebrity in the inner sect, right?" Fang Jinghu was talking about the deity's order god pattern. Fang Chen chuckled and did not say anything. This was a benefit brought about by the combination of the 9-star stone and the blood tear stone. It was also the unique property of the hidden star sword. Fang Jinghu briefly exchanged a few words with Fang Chen, then left after saying a few words. "Junior brother, if you encounter any difficulties, you can come and find me." After Fang Jinghu left, Daoist Black Iron said, "I've already obtained the last 2 materials. You can wait by the side. I'll help you upgrade the grade of the weapon." Upgrading the grade of the hidden star sword was too easy for Daoist Black Iron. "It's worthy of being a heaven-opening grade weapon." Fang Chen sighed. He did not encounter any problems during the entire refining process. After adding the blood tear stone, the hidden star sword turned completely red. Soon after, Daoist Black Iron carefully added the 9-star stone. Immediately, thunder flashed in the sky. Many thunder dragons swooped down and bombarded the hidden star sword. Heavenly thunder tempering. This was the sign of refining a heaven-opening grade weapon. Fang Chen calmly waited. After the heavenly thunder tempering lasted for about 15 minutes, the last strand of thunder entered the hidden star sword. Suddenly, the star-hidden sword changed from its original red color to some subtle changes. The hilt of the sword was golden, and the body of the sword was red, giving off a fierce and domineering feeling. Furthermore, there were complicated patterns flickering on the red blade. "All right, then I'll make my move." When he arrived at the weapon hall's courtyard, Daoist Black Iron and another young man were waiting for him. This was the benefit brought about by both the 9-star stone and the blood tear stone. It was also the manifestation of the unique attribute of the hidden star sword. Whoosh! Daoist Master Black Iron's wrist shook, and the star-hidden sword streaked across the void. Suddenly, a ferocious voice entered Fang Chen's ears. It was very shocking. Whoosh! Hiss hiss hiss. He left the weapon hall with the hidden star sword. Fang Chen's eyes widened as he stared at the void before him. "This?" Fang Chen asked with a frown. As a space-time martial artist, he was very sensitive to the void. Bang! When he returned to his residence, he happened to bump into a group of people. Fang Chen recognized these people. They were the disciples who had stopped him at the entrance of the Elixir Hall. He immediately discovered that there was something wrong with the void. After being struck by the hidden star sword, there was no change on the outside, but the inside had directly rotted. As expected of a heaven-opening grade weapon. Fang Chen sighed. "This time, I can only help you upgrade to the low-grade heaven-opening grade. Because of the 9-star stone and the blood tear stone, I can't upgrade it anymore. I need to wait for the sword to completely adapt to the strength of these 2 materials." Daoist Black Iron threw the hidden star sword over and said, "But don't worry. After adding the 9-star stone, once your weapon adapts, it will automatically upgrade to the middle grade." Fang Chen played with the hidden star sword and felt that its power was even more tyrannical. He was very excited. He cupped his fists and said, "Thank you, Daoist Black Iron." Daoist Black Iron waved his hand and said, "No need to thank me. I also got what I dreamed of." This is a win-win situation. Since Daoist Black Iron said so, Fang Chen naturally didn't say anything else. He took the hidden star sword and left the weapon hall. When he returned to his residence, he coincidentally met a group of people. Junior brother. The few of them quickly walked over to Fang Chen and spoke with malicious smiles on their faces. Fang Chen recognized these people. They were the disciples who stopped him at the entrance of the medicine hall. "I heard that junior brother has absorbed the innate god of order. No wonder you are so arrogant." "That's right. Even senior Ling Danzi has such a good attitude towards junior brother. Junior brother has already become a famous person in the inner sect. It's a pity that junior brother isn't willing to help us senior brothers." Several people looked at Fang Chen with ridicule. Although the latter had absorbed the innate god of order, his cultivation was still at the divine inscription realm. They were very clear about the gap between the divine inscription realm and the unity realm. "What's the matter?" Fang Chen frowned and asked. "Junior brother, I admire the innate god of order very much and would like to see it for myself. I wonder if junior brother will give me the chance." The leader, Yu Hongyun, said with a smile. This person was ranked 91st among the inner sect disciples. The disciples beside him were his followers. "If senior brother Yu wins, I would like to ask for junior brother's help." Moreover, it made senior brother Yu so afraid. How was this possible? How about it? Does junior brother dare to agree? However, he was stopped by the latter. Hearing this, Fang Chen finally understood. He sneered in his heart. It seemed that he was too low-key. Any random person dared to bully him. "Alright, I don't mind. But if I lose, I will have to help senior brother Yu. But if I win, I won't get any benefits. This kind of thing seems unfair to me." Fang Chen spread out his hands and said, "Don't tell me that senior brothers are trying to trick me." Since Daoist Black Iron said so, Fang Chen naturally didn't say anything else. After being asked by Fang Chen, Yu Hongyun hurriedly explained. "Junior brother can rest assured. If I, senior brother, lose, I will give you everything I have." This person was ranked 91st among the inner sect disciples. The disciples beside him were his followers. "How much do you have?" Fang Chen asked. 10,000 middle-grade origin stones. What do you think? Yu Hongyun didn't even have time to defend himself. His body was sent flying. In order to get Fang Chen to help him, Yu Hongyun had spent a lot of money. It wasn't easy for an early-stage Unity Realm disciple to have 10,000 middle-grade origin stones. "That's fine too." Fang Chen pretended to ponder for a while before saying, "Senior brother, you can decide on the time and place." Hearing this, Yu Hongyun was secretly delighted. "Let's do it here. What do you think?" Hearing this, Yu Hongyun was secretly delighted. "No problem." The other disciples retreated, making a large space for Yu Hongyun and Fang Chen. As expected of a heaven-opening grade weapon. Fang Chen sighed. This idiot. Just wait for senior brother Yu to teach him a lesson. So what if he has an innate divine rune of order? He will still be taught a lesson by senior brother Yu. Mph. I hate such arrogant hotheads the most. To put it bluntly, the few of them were just jealous of Fang Chen for having an innate divine rune of order. Jealousy gave birth to hatred. That was why the current situation happened. "Junior brother, you can make the first move." Yu Hongyun chuckled. "Alright. I will make the first move." In order to get Fang Chen to help him, Yu Hongyun had spent a lot of money. Fang Chen looked at Yu Hongyun and grinned. Immediately after, he activated the myriad sword body. A terrifying power instantly attacked. The hidden star sword appeared in his hand. He performed the traceless sword technique. Shio. The void shattered. A terrifying aura that suffocated people fell from the sky. Peng. Yu Hongyun did not even have time to block it. His body was sent flying. When he looked down, there was a terrifying sword wound on his body. Blood was flowing out of it. How can this be? Yu Hongyun stared at Fang Chen angrily. He wanted to stand up and continue the fight. However, when he tried to stand up, he stumbled and fell. How can this be? Yu Hongyun only noticed the situation in his body. He opened his eyes wide and cried out, "Ph! I hate such arrogant hotheads the most. Senior brother Yu." A few disciples who were prepared to watch the show realized that something was wrong. They hurried to Yu Hongyun's side and asked worriedly. Fang Chen recognized them. They were the disciples who had stopped him at the entrance of the elixir hall. Puke. Yu Hongyun spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura was weak and he had lost his combat strength. He looked at Fang Chen in horror. He was terrified. Damn it. How dare you attack senior brother Yu? Let's go together and teach him a lesson. Then, he activated the myriad sword body. A terrifying force instantly attacked. If Yu Hongyun had wanted to kill him, he would have died. Damn it. How dare you attack senior brother Yu? Let's go together and teach him a lesson. A few disciples shouted angrily. They wanted to avenge Yu Hongyun. Fang Chen played with the hidden star sword. He felt that its power had become more powerful. However, he was stopped by Yu Hongyun. Shut up. Yu Hongyun shouted. Suddenly, they stopped and looked at each other. Immediately, they stopped in their tracks and looked at each other. Thank you for showing mercy, junior brother. Yu Hongyun cupped his fist and thanked him. His face was burning and he wished he could find a hole to hide in. A few days later, Fang Chen was summoned by Black Iron Sage. So, senior brother Yu has admitted defeat? Fang Chen asked. The sword hilt was golden and the sword body was red. It gave off a fierce and domineering feeling. Furthermore, there were complex runes flickering on the red blade. If Yu Hongyun had wanted to kill him, he would have died. Yu Hongyun nodded and reluctantly took out 10,000 mid-grade origin stones from his Sumeru ring. His heart was bleeding. This was the wealth that he had saved for a long time. Now, he had given it all away. Haha, I'm new here. I don't have enough origin stones. Thank you, senior brother Yu, for your generosity. If there are such good things in the future, please remember to look for me. After that, Fang Chen walked straight into his courtyard. Senior brother Yu, Yu Hongyun was helped up by a few disciples. His face was pale. He shook his head and said, "Don't provoke this person. His strength is beyond our imagination." Fang Chen smiled and did not say anything. The disciples could not accept that a divine inscription realm martial artist had defeated Yu Hongyun in one move. As a space-time martial artist, he was very sensitive to the void. Moreover, how could senior brother Yu be so afraid of him? At this moment, Fang Chen, who was in the courtyard, was secretly delighted. I hope more idiots like Yu Hongyun will send me some origin stones. Chapter 2208. A genius remembers love in 1 second. Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. He had completed one of the 4 goals. Fang Chen did not expect to complete the goal so easily. It surprised him. Since he had completed it, there was no need to think too much about it. The tree wants to be still, but the wind will not stop. Originally, Fang Chen planned to keep a low profile and complete the 4 goals while he was at it. However, he was wrong. The attraction of the innate order divine pattern was too great. When the news spread throughout the inner sect, many disciples came to watch him and looked at him like he was a monkey. This made him very helpless. No matter where he went, there were disciples who wanted to challenge him to see the legendary innate order divine pattern. If Fang Chen appears in Zukai town, inform me immediately. When you are acting, I will secretly stop the sword master. Once I succeed, I will retreat immediately. Old ancestor. Jian Wuji cupped his fists. However, with his current strength, he did not need to use the innate order divine pattern to deal with those ordinary disciples. In the blink of an eye, almost a month had passed since Fang Chen entered the inner sect. Hearing this, Jian Wuji did not speak anymore and silently put away the runes. Moreover, the all-fusion body itself required one to constantly fight and absorb the various talents of the opponent in battle to strengthen one's own shortcomings. During this period, Fang Chen had been earning origin stones. The effect was not bad. Every disciple who wanted to challenge him had to pay at least 10,000 mid-grade origin stones. In just a short month, the number of mid-grade origin stones had already reached 70,000. On this day, Fang Chen came to the scripture pavilion through Elder Long's contact. Jian Wuji seemed to have discovered something and his expression changed drastically. All the divine arts of the inner sect were in the scripture pavilion. If one wanted to cultivate them, they had to pay enough origin stones. Is this the scripture pavilion? Fang Chen looked around curiously. There were not many divine arts in the scripture pavilion, but they were all high-level divine arts. Let's choose a soul path divine art first. Fang Chen thought to himself. After his careful selection, his gaze landed on a thick book. Innate Soul Reversal Technique. On the yellowed book, there were 5 bold and powerful words. That's it. All the divine arts in the inner sect were stored in the scripture depository. If one wanted to cultivate them, they would have to pay sufficient origin stones. Love Go Little Say W. Fang Chen decided to choose this divine technique. After checking the price, Xiao Chen found that 30,000 medial grade origin stones was within an acceptable range. After making his selection, he informed the elder guarding the scripture pavilion and paid the price of 30,000 mid-grade origin stones to take away the Innate Soul Reversal Technique's copy. In the courtyard, Fang Chen looked at the information about the Innate Soul Reversal Technique seriously. He felt as if he had sunk deep into an ocean of soul Tao. The Tao of the soul is too vast. What I have grasped is merely the tip of the iceberg, Fang Chen said to himself. He wanted to enter the top 50 as soon as possible so that he could leave the inner sect openly. In the following time, he began to cultivate the Innate Soul Reversal Technique. On the peak of the limitless Sword Mountain, on the stone pillar that reached the sky, Fang Shi's body emitted an extremely dense aura. The attraction of the innate order divine pattern was too great. When this news spread throughout the inner sect, many disciples came to watch him and looked at him like a monkey. Rumble. A deafening sound rang out as Jian Wuji appeared instantly. Patriarch, are you sure you want to do this? Jian Wuji asked. Yes. After seeing the changes in Fang Shi, Jian Wuji nodded in satisfaction. Master. After a long while, Fang Shi opened his eyes. You have finally taken the last step. Now, it's time to hone yourself, Jian Wuji said. Fang Shi had the all-fusion body, which was very suitable for his inheritance. Suddenly, a bright spot lit up in his primordial spirit and then swept through his entire mind. After seeing the changes in Fang Shi, Jian Wuji nodded in satisfaction. However, at this stage, Fang Shi had only received a small portion of the inheritance. His cultivation was stuck at a bottleneck and could not break through. He needed to go out and hone himself. Moreover, the all-fusion body itself required one to constantly fight and absorb the various talents of the opponent to strengthen one's own shortcomings. Patriarch, are you sure you want to do this? Jian Wuji asked. From now on, you will walk around Dongxian heaven and train. You must dig out all the advantages of the myriad fusion body, Jian Wuji said. This is a token of mine. Take it out when you encounter danger. Ordinary divine Mark Realm disciples could not possibly be Fang Shi's opponent at all. Go. And if a Unity Realm expert were to see this token, they would definitely feel apprehensive. Go. Jian Wuji waved his hand and sent Fang Shi out of the limitless sword sect. Looking at the back of his disciple, Jian Wuji sighed. Then he retracted his gaze and looked at Fang Chen. Hey! This guy is cultivating the Innate Soul Reversal Technique? Seeing Fang Chen cultivating this Soul Dao divine technique, Jian Wuji was a little surprised. In the courtyard. Then he said with a smile, with such good talent in the Sword Dao, why don't you seize the time to cultivate this Soul Dao divine technique? Although the Innate Soul Reversal Technique was powerful, it was incomplete. Thinking of this, Jian Wuji shook his head. Voila! Fang Chen seriously looked at the information of the Innate Soul Reversal Technique, feeling as if he was deep in the sea of Soul Dao. The void flickered and Ancestor Xinghe suddenly appeared. Not bad. Ancestor. Jian Wuji cupped his fists. Ancestor Xinghe nodded and said, I'm here to see how this guy's cultivation is going. Then, Ancestor Xing. His gaze penetrated the clouds and landed on Fang Chen. After a long time, Ancestor Xing. His face was full of smiles. He was very satisfied with Fang Chen's cultivation. Jian Wuji seemed to have discovered something and his face suddenly changed. His overall potential is very strong. After absorbing the innate divine rune of order, he's destined to have extraordinary achievements in the future. Ancestor Xing. He said, when he dominates the inner sect, give this rune to him. Boom. Fang Chen naturally didn't know that Ancestor Xing. He had already noticed him. This is, looking at the back of his disciple, Jian Wuji sighed. Jian Wuji seemed to have discovered something and his face suddenly changed. Ancestor, are you sure you want to do this? Jian Wuji asked. Ancestor Xing. He said leisurely, geniuses are tempered by blood and fire. He can't cultivate in the Wuji sword sect for the rest of his life. He has to go out and see the world. I'm just letting him experience the cruel path of cultivation in advance. Hearing this, Jian Wuji didn't speak anymore and silently put away the rune. Let's choose a soul path divine technique first. Fang Chen naturally didn't know that Ancestor Xing. He had already noticed him. He was wholeheartedly cultivating the innate soul reversal technique. In the process, he discovered that this soul path divine technique was extremely special. This soul path divine technique had a total of 9 levels. When cultivated to the extreme, it could reverse the primordial spirit and erupt with powerful strength. It could even kill with one's mind. Before this, Fang Chen didn't even dare to think about reversing the primordial spirit. This kind of method could only be used by experts at the level of the Swordmaster. However, this innate soul reversal technique was different. It was very difficult to cultivate, but once cultivated, the benefits were endless. However, what made Fang Chen feel a little helpless was that this innate soul reversal technique was incomplete and only had the first 5 levels. What about the last 4 levels? Dongxian Heaven, Tianqing Remnant Clan Headquarters. After a long time, Ancestor Xing. His face was full of smiles. He was very satisfied with Fang Chen's cultivation. Fang Chen said helplessly. He contacted Elder Long and the latter told him that this soul path divine technique had been incomplete ever since the Wuji sword sect obtained it. Moreover, Elder Long also advised Fang Chen not to cultivate the innate soul reversal technique, saying that it was a waste of time. Buzz. After cultivating for about a month, Fang Chen felt that the 6 golden figures in his mind had undergone subtle changes. Thinking of this, Jian Wuji shook his head. Suddenly, a bright spot lit up in his primordial spirit and then swept through his entire mind. Boom! In the next moment, a violent soul path aura emerged and wrapped Fang Chen tightly. This, in the blink of an eye, almost a month had passed since Fang Chen entered the inner sect. Thinking of the Swordmaster, the person in charge's eyes were filled with murderous intent. In the following time, he began to cultivate the innate soul reversal technique. Fang Chen was overjoyed. Unknowingly, he had cultivated the first level of the innate soul reversal technique. It was really exciting. Let's test its power. Fang Chen waved his hand and an illusion appeared in the courtyard. Then, Fang Chen began to test the power of the innate soul reversal technique. Dongxian Heaven, Tianqing Remnant Clan Headquarters. How is it? The person in charge asked in a hoarse voice. Below, a few black-robed Tianqing Remnant Clan members hurriedly said, "Sir, please don't worry. We have already set up an inescapable net in Zekai town. As long as Fang Chen comes, he will definitely die." However, with his current strength, he didn't need to use the innate order divine runes to deal with those ordinary disciples. "Sir, should we control the Ling family in Zekai town first?" Another person asked. Thinking of this, Jian Wuji shook his head. The person in charge, shrouded in black fog, gently shook his head and said, "Don't act rashly. The previous failure has already alerted us. The higher-ups of the Limitless Sword Sect have been protecting Fang Chen in the dark." But, the person in charge, shrouded in black fog, waved his hand and said, "There are no buts. The failure of the Divine Rune world has caused our Tianqing Remnant clan to be exposed to the eyes of the human experts. Now, we must be careful. Before we kill Fang Chen, no one is allowed to act on their own. Otherwise, they will be killed without mercy. Dongxian Heaven, Tianqing Remnant Clan Headquarters. Hearing this, several people nodded heavily. If Fang Chen appears in Zekai Town, inform me immediately. When you all act, I will obstruct the Sword Master in the dark. Once we succeed, we will retreat immediately. That's right. Thinking of the Sword Master, the person in charge's eyes were filled with killing intent. Previously, the Sword Master had silently killed several of their Unity Realm clansmen. This had infuriated the person in charge. But for the sake of killing Fang Chen, he had to endure this anger. Hearing this, several people nodded heavily. If they couldn't get it, then they would completely destroy it. Fang Chen had obtained an innate divine rune of order. He was someone their Tianqing Remnant clan had to eliminate. Fang Chen waved his hand and an illusion appeared in the courtyard. Fang Chen began to test the power of the innate soul reversal technique. The Tianqing Remnant clan had revived from the ashes and secretly deployed to rule the Void Star Heaven. And their only mission in Dongxian Heaven was to kill the geniuses of the various sect. Fang Chen was the most important genius. They had to kill him at all costs. Sir, please rest assured. We will not act rashly. After cultivating for about a month, Fang Chen felt that the 6 little golden men in his mind had undergone slight changes. The person in charge nodded and said in a hoarse voice, after killing Fang Chen, remember to bring his corpse back to me. Chapter 2209. Genius Remembering Love in 1 Second Go. Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. The reason why the innate soul reversal technique could be cultivated to the first level so quickly was also thanks to Fang Chen's powerful primordial spirit. There were only a handful of primordial spirits in the divine inscription realm who could possess a 6th origin stage primordial spirit. Furthermore, Fang Chen's attainments in the soul cultivation Dao were very strong, so this was reasonable. Voila! The illusion collapsed and Fang Chen's figure appeared in the courtyard. His face was full of smiles. The power of the innate soul reversal technique was much stronger than he had imagined. With this innate soul reversal technique and the traceless sword technique, I can completely crush early-stage Unity Realm martial artists. I can even challenge middle-stage Unity Realm martial artists. Fang Chen said confidently. After all, he still had his trump card, the innate order divine runes. Once released, it could form a fundamental suppression, making the opponent breathless. Soul Dao divine techniques were very difficult to cultivate. Therefore, Fang Chen was not in a hurry. Anyway, he had already obtained the innate soul reversal technique. As long as he was given time, he would be able to cultivate it. Next, he needed a body-tempering divine technique. Among the Cosmos divine techniques, there were very few that were compatible with the myriad sword body. It would be slightly difficult to obtain one. However, Fang Chen had already inquired about it. There was a gravity space in the inner sect. It was built for disciples to temper their fleshly bodies. There were different levels of gravity in the gravity space. Under normal circumstances, disciples with powerful fleshly bodies would go to the gravity space. Other than tempering the fleshly body, there was another thing that attracted the attention of martial artists. That was, they could issue challenges and compete with their fleshly bodies. If they could defeat their opponent, they could obtain the opponent's body-tempering divine technique. Of course, this required both parties to agree to it before the battle could begin. Therefore, the gravity space was usually packed with people. Let's go take a look. It was still early, so Fang Chen prepared to take a look at the gravity space. Although it was called a space, it was roughly the size of a wasteland. The gravity space was completely sealed and isolated from the outside world. There were a total of 9 regions inside, and the gravity in each region was different. It was said that the gravity in the 9th district had reached 100 times that of the outside world. Almost no disciples could step into the 9th district. When Fang Chen arrived at the gravity space, he was surprised to see many disciples tempering their bodies. Is this the gravity space? Fang Chen looked around and muttered to himself. Each area was only a few miles wide. The closer to the periphery, the weaker the gravity. That round yellow area should be the place of the battle, right? Fang Chen thought to himself. At this moment, two disciples suddenly walked into the circular yellow area. "Blue brick, you forced me to do this," the grey-clothed disciple said coldly as he looked at the blue brick with a gloomy expression. "You will regret your decision." Blue brick sneered. In the inner sect, although the blue brick wasn't considered too strong, it was still ranked below average. His opponent was slightly weaker than him, but his body refinement divine arts were unique, and blue brick had long since set his eyes on him. He had spent a long time and exhausted all means to make him agree to the battle. Looking at the grey-clothed disciple, blue brick was very excited. His body had been stuck at a bottleneck for a long time. If he could obtain this body refinement divine art, he would definitely find the opportunity to break through. Boom. After the two exchanged a few words, the atmosphere was extremely tense, and the battle was about to break out. The battle in the gravity space was very simple. One couldn't use origin energy and could only rely on pure physical strength. "Eat my fist," Blue Brick shouted as he gathered all his strength in his fist and threw a punch at the grey-clothed disciple. "Love go little say W, chew bang." The grey-clothed disciple didn't want to be outdone and threw a punch back. When the two fists collided, there was a deafening sound, and a powerful shockwave forced the two of them back. Buzz. At this moment, the grey-clothed disciple's body trembled slightly, and a strange aura emanated from his body. In an instant, the strength of his physical body began to rise wildly. "Hey! This is interesting." After seeing the grey-clothed disciple's state, Fang Chen was surprised. After observing carefully, he nodded slightly. This person's body refinement divine art was indeed special. No wonder Blue Brick wanted it so badly. Unfortunately, although this body refinement divine art was strange and special, it didn't suit him. "It's no use." Seeing the grey-clothed disciple's full strength, Blue Brick sneered and used the trump card that he had prepared. Dong. Violent power poured down and the terrifying fist radiance smashed into the grey-clothed disciple's body, breaking his physical defense. Poochie. Although the grey-clothed disciple's body refinement divine art was special, it couldn't withstand Blue Brick's powerful attack. His body fell heavily to the ground, and he spat out blood. His face was pale. Blue Brick withdrew his aura and sneered. He stretched out his hand and said, "Hand it over." The grey-clothed disciple looked solemn and shook his head helplessly. He then took out a yellowed book and threw it to Blue Brick. "Humph, I will take revenge." After saying that, the grey-clothed disciple turned and left. Blue Brick's battle didn't seem to affect the cultivation of the disciples in the gravity space. They were already used to these battles. However, without absolute confidence, no one would casually accept the challenge of others. Blue Brick held the book in his hand and was delighted. He finally got it. However, at this moment, he saw Fang Chen standing in the first zone from the corner of his eye. What is he doing here? After pondering for a while, a malicious smile appeared on Blue Brick's face. Then, he strode over. "Brat, what are you doing here?" Blue Brick said coldly. He held a grudge against Fang Chen for squeezing them out of Black Iron Sage's place. At the same time, he also wanted to take revenge for the disciples of the Blue Moon Mansion. Feeling Blue Brick's hatred, Fang Chen ignored him. "I'm here to find a suitable body refinement divine art for me," Fang Chen said indifferently as he looked around to see if there was a suitable body refinement divine art for him. Seeing him speak so casually, the anger in Blue Brick's heart grew. "Humph, a piece of trash like you dares to gamble in the gravity space? What a joke. If it weren't for the divine runes of order, who would pay attention to you?" Blue Brick looked down at Fang Chen and said coldly, "Boring." Fang Chen ignored Blue Brick and walked to the second zone. The gravity in this zone was much stronger than in the first zone, but it wasn't a problem for Fang Chen. Blue Brick was about to curse when he suddenly thought of something and said, "Brat, aren't you looking for a suitable body refinement divine art? I have 2 body refinement divine arts here. What do you think?" Blue Brick wanted to use the body refinement divine arts as bait to lure Fang Chen into accepting his challenge. However, his wishful thinking was wrong. Fang Chen didn't care about the 2 body refinement divine arts at all. "No need," Fang Chen said. "What? You don't dare!" Blue Brick deliberately provoked him. Fang Chen stopped and turned around to look at the blue brick. He then said, "Your two body-refining divine arts are too trashy." After that, Fang Chen continued to move forward. The third zone, the fourth zone, and the fifth zone. In the blink of an eye, Fang Chen arrived at the sixth zone. Being able to walk to the sixth zone in one go was enough to show the strength of his body. Damn this guy! Blue Brick was furious, but he couldn't do anything to Fang Chen. Fang Chen's appearance naturally attracted the attention of others. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. This guy actually came to the sixth zone. It seems that his physical strength isn't weak. Amidst the discussions of the crowd, Fang Chen walked to the seventh zone. Finally, I feel the pressure. Fang Chen nodded with satisfaction, then sat down cross-legged and began to refine his body. The body refinement divine arts of the disciples cultivating in the gravity space were too weak, and Fang Chen didn't care about them. He wanted to wait for the top disciples to come and see what kind of special body refinement divine arts were suitable for him. The seventh zone. Suddenly, the entire gravity space was in an uproar. How could a new disciple not be shocked to come to the seventh zone in one go? After all, there weren't many disciples in the entire inner sect who could enter the seventh zone. Even Blue Brick couldn't enter the seventh zone. At this time, everyone finally understood why he ignored Blue Brick's two body refinement divine arts. It turned out that he really didn't care about them. Chapter 22:10. A genius remembers love in 1 second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. In the gravitational space, many disciples stared at Fang Chen with their mouths agape. While they were shocked, their eyes were filled with envy. In a certain courtyard, a man in black was sipping tea. Your body-tempering divine art is much stronger than Lan Brick's. However, although this hornspike has the power to kill, its internal structure is still a little messy. It can't withstand heavy pressure. If it were to encounter a powerful warrior, he would definitely be able to break it with brute force, Fang Chen said indifferently. This guy is really powerful. No wonder he's a genius who absorbed the innate order divine runes. Yeah, to be able to enter the seventh zone in one go, his physical strength must be one of the best in the inner sect. After the body of 10,000 swords reached the fourth level, it seemed to be stuck at a bottleneck. No matter how hard he tempered it, there was no progress. The body of 10,000 swords was pushed to the extreme. Fourth level power instantly emerged, and the 10,000 swords domain quietly spread out. H. A strong physical body doesn't mean that he's strong. Some people approved of Fang Chen, while some opposed Fang Chen. In short, after seeing Fang Chen, most people's eyes were filled with fear. Blue Brick's face was burning, as if he had been slapped hard in the face. Damn it, isn't it just a strong physical body? What's so great about it? At this moment, even Lan Brick knew that if it was a competition of physical strength, he was no match for Fang Chen. However, he believed that his strength was no weaker than Fang Chen's. Putting away his fist, Fang Chen continued to walk to the seventh zone and sat down cross-legged as if nothing had happened. The latter had just finished refining a long sword when he heard the news from the gravitational space. Everyone stared at Fang Chen with their mouths agape. They shook their heads vigorously, unable to believe what they had just seen. Soon, the news spread throughout the inner sect. In a certain courtyard, a man in black was sipping tea. Suddenly, a disciple rushed over. Senior brother Hei Po, the Fang Chen you asked me to keep an eye on caused quite a commotion in the gravitational space. Oh! He went straight to the seventh area as soon as he entered the gravity space. He even said that the body-refining divine art of the blue brick was trash and that he didn't want it. Hei Po said. The disciple explained the situation in detail. Your physical strength is not bad. Do you dare to bet with me? Hei Po got straight to the point. The warrior known as Hei Po revealed a smile on his calm face. He turned his head and saw a black-robed warrior walking straight towards him. As expected, to be able to absorb the innate divine runes of order, his physical body must be very strong as well. Some of the nearby disciples could not help but retreat as their eyes were filled with fear. At this point, Hei Po's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness. I must get his body refining divine arts. Black Broken Heart said to himself. Then, He stood up and headed straight for the gravity space. Gravity space, the 7th region. After cultivating for a while, Fang Chen opened his eyes and shook his head helplessly. After the myriad sword body reached the 4th level, it seemed to be stuck at a bottleneck. No matter how hard he tempered it, there was no progress. I wonder when I will be able to find a suitable body-refining divine art, Fang Chen said to himself. In his opinion, a monstrous genius who could absorb the innate divine runes of order was a dragon among men. However, Fang Chen's aura gave people a very ordinary feeling. As Fang Chen shouted, the void suddenly collapsed and a trembling shadow of a fist smashed into He Po's body. In a courtyard, a black-robed man was sipping tea. He came to the 7th area in one go, which must have caused a big commotion. Black Broken Heart moved and his body was covered by a thick black aura. The news would spread quickly and soon, there would be disciples coming to challenge him. This was the effect he wanted. Only by attracting the top disciples would he be able to get a useful body-refining divine art. Just as he was thinking, there was a commotion outside the gravity space. He turned his head and saw a black-robed warrior walking straight toward him. Black Broken Heart moved and his body was covered by a thick black aura. "You are Fang Chen?" He Po stared at Fang Chen with some disappointment. In his opinion, a monstrous genius who could absorb the innate divine runes of order was a dragon among men. However, Fang Chen's aura gave people a very ordinary feeling. "I am," Fang Chen said. "Your physical strength is not bad. Do you dare to bet with me?" He Po asked directly. Fang Chen stared at He Po and said, "That depends on whether your body-refining divine art can move me." Buzz. Black Broken Heart moved and his body was covered by a thick black aura. In the next moment, hideous black thorns appeared on his skin and a murderous aura spread out. Adept Black Iron had the same idea as Ling Danzi. Some of the nearby disciples could not help but retreat as their eyes were filled with fear. "Oh!" Fang Chen carefully looked at He Po's body-refining divine art and pondered inwardly. Fang Chen stared at He Po and said, "That depends on whether your body-refining divine art can move me. My body-refining divine art is called the heaven-breaking horn stab technique. There are a total of 9 levels. When cultivated to the peak, the entire body will be covered by thorns. No Unity Realm warrior can break through it," He Po said. Thinking of this, Adept Black Iron sighed. "Your body-refining divine art is much stronger than blue bricks. However, although this horn spike has the power to kill, its internal structure is still a little messy. It can't withstand heavy pressure. If it were to encounter a powerful warrior, he would definitely be able to break it with brute force," Fang Chen said indifferently. "What do you mean?" Fang Chen shook his head and said directly, "Your heaven-breaking horn stab technique is not very useful to me. Therefore, I don't want to waste time. Please go back." Fang Chen's rejection was very straightforward, causing the many disciples in the gravity space to be stunned. Thinking of this, Adept Black Iron sighed. He came to the gravity space to find a suitable body-refining divine art, not to waste time. After his myriad sword body reached the 4th level, it seemed to be stuck at a bottleneck. No matter how he tempered it, there was no movement. On what basis do you say that? I didn't even see his fist clearly and He Po was sent flying." He Po was somewhat anxious and said in a deep voice, "Didn't you just absorb the innate divine rune of order? What's so great about it? I think you don't dare to accept my challenge, right?" This disciple explained the situation in detail. Hearing He Po's words, Fang Chen felt somewhat helpless. It seemed that if he did not display some valiant strength, there would be many people coming to disturb him in the future. "If you can withstand a punch of mine, I'll accept your challenge. How about it?" Fang Chen said. He Po said in a deep voice after arriving at the circular yellow area. Just as he was thinking, there was a commotion outside the gravity space. Not to mention one punch, even 10 punches will do. If I take half a step back, I'll lose and this heaven-piercing horn technique will be yours. He Po was very straightforward. His purpose of coming here was not to deal with Fang Chen, but purely to see the strength of an innate divine rune of order. Some of the nearby disciples could not help but retreat as their eyes were filled with fear. "If you lose, Don't disturb me again. As for your heaven-piercing horn technique, I won't take it, Fang Chen said indifferently. He Po was somewhat angry, but without saying anything, he used the heaven-piercing horn technique to raise his physical defense to the highest level. Make your move, He Po said in a deep voice after arriving at the circular yellow area. Buzz. As for his body, it was directly sent flying. Since he wanted to intimidate everyone, he had to defeat He Po with absolute strength. Sigh, if such a disciple could become my inner disciple, how great would that be? Rumble. Within Fang Chen's body, a vast amount of energy was vibrating. He clenched his fists tightly, and the violent energy was completely gathered in his palms. The myriad sword body was pushed to the extreme, and level 4 energy instantly surged out. The myriad sword domain quietly spread out. Go! Following Fang Chen's light roar, the void suddenly shattered, and a shocking fist ruthlessly smashed onto He Po's body. The spikes on the surface of He Po's skin were instantly shattered like glass. As for his body, it was directly sent flying. Retracting his fist, Fang Chen continued to walk to the 7th area and sat down cross-legged, as if nothing had happened. However, within the gravity space, there was a deathly silence. Everyone stared at Fang Chen, dumbfounded. They shook their heads vigorously, unable to believe what they had just seen. Isn't he too strong? I didn't even see his punch clearly, and He Po was sent flying. Although He Po's overall strength isn't too strong, his physical strength can be ranked in the top 5 of the inner sect. He Po, who was sent flying, spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, he stood up and headed straight for the gravity space. His pitch-black eyes stared at Fang Chen's back in the distance, unable to calm down for a long time. As for his body, it was directly sent flying. He stood up with difficulty, clasped his hands together towards Fang Chen, and then staggered away. No one knew better than him how powerful that punch was. He could have killed me with one blow, but at the last moment, I felt that he held back. He Broken Heart thought to himself. The news of He Po's defeat quickly spread throughout the inner sect. Many of the disciples who were ranked at the top were talking about Fang Chen. Elixir Hall. This guy, what is he doing in the gravity space? Ling Danzi was speechless. However, he believed that his strength wasn't any weaker than Fang Chen's. Gravity space, 7th area. He was preparing to refine a large number of elixirs, and wanted to ask Fang Chen to help him. He was speechless when he heard that the latter was in the limelight in the gravity space. How weak could a martial artist who could absorb the innate divine runes of order be? Wasn't he bullying those disciples by challenging them? Daoist Black Iron had the same thought as Ling Danzi. What do you mean? The latter had just finished refining a long sword when he heard the news from the gravity space. He stroked his beard and chuckled. This guy defeated He Po with one punch. I think those guys can't sit still and are going to make a move. Among the 100 inner sect disciples, there were a few who had very strong physical bodies. They were much stronger than He Po. Now that Fang Chen defeated He Po with one punch, those disciples who rarely saw him would definitely go and see him. In a certain courtyard, a man in black was drinking tea. This is good too. Although he absorbed the innate divine runes of order, he still needs to polish himself. With these disciples making a move, it will definitely spur him on. Daoist Black Iron said to himself. Thinking of this, Daoist Black Iron sighed. Sigh, it would be great if such a disciple could become my inner disciple. However, what Daoist Black Iron didn't know was that even Jian Wuji wasn't qualified to take Fang Chen as a disciple. Chapter 22:11. A genius remembers love in 1 second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Fang Chen was the best in the gravitational space, and no one could compete with him. Even a body-refining expert like He Po was defeated by him with one punch, causing He Po to disappear and go into seclusion. The god of thunder was furious, but he restrained himself. Then what do you want? As time passed, more and more disciples entered the gravitational space. They all wanted to see Fang Chen's glory. At the same time, they were also guessing when those freakish body-refining experts would make their move. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. During this time, Fang Chen's body of 10,000 swords had become stronger. He had reached the mid-stage of level 4, and he would reach the late stage of level 4. This was already quite good. At least compared to a month ago, his physical body was much stronger. Now it's my turn to attack, right? Fang Chen had been waiting for those guys to appear. Through his observation, he found that these disciples in the gravitational space were not very good at body refining. I wonder when they will appear. Fang Chen was also looking forward to it. Only by fighting with experts could he stimulate his fighting spirit and improve his body of 10,000 swords to another level. However, on this day, bang! In one of the luxurious courtyards of the inner sect, a ferocious aura suddenly swept toward them. In the next moment, a bolt of lightning swooped down and bombarded the courtyard. At the same time, all the disciples in the inner sect stared at the luxurious courtyard with burning eyes. They knew very well what that bolt of lightning signified. Soon, a piece of news spread in the inner sect. The god of thunder has come out of seclusion. Fang Chen heard this and shook his head. A trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. Let's hurry to the gravitational space. The god of thunder will definitely challenge Fang Chen. Great, I can see the god of thunder's thunder dragon body technique again. Many disciples rushed into the gravitational space after hearing the news. In the luxurious courtyard, the lightning runes on the god of thunder's body flickered and crackled incessantly. His words were filled with disdain. What he meant was, so what if you have an innate divine pattern of order? Aren't you still suppressed by me, the thunder god? He opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his face. His thunder god tyrant body had reached a new level. He had gained a lot from his seclusion this time. At the same time, they were also guessing when those abnormal body refinement experts would make their move. Love go little say W Kumpf, you defeated me by a hair's breadth last time. Let's see how you block my thunder god mighty body this time. The god of thunder's eyes flashed with a hint of madness when he thought of Han Yuan. Among the 100 inner sect disciples, Han Yuan was the only one whom the thunder god valued in terms of physical strength. Speaking of Korean One, everyone knew about it. This was already quite good. At the very least, compared to a month ago, his physical body had become much stronger. He was the undisputed #1 disciple in the inner sect. Whether it was in terms of overall strength or physical strength, he was far superior to the other disciples. Thunder God only dared to challenge Han Yuan in terms of physical strength. Even if you beat him to death, he wouldn't dare to challenge Han Yuan in terms of overall strength. Just as he was speaking, he suddenly sensed that his communication jade pendant had rung. After hearing the contents of the communication jade pendant, the god of thunder licked his dry lips with a hint of disdain in his eyes. An innate divine sigil of order? His purpose in coming here was to obtain a suitable body refinement divine art. The thunder god mighty body art wasn't suitable for him, so he naturally didn't want to waste time fighting. The god of thunder said coldly, "You're just a lucky bastard. Do you really think that an innate divine sigil of order can sweep through the inner sect?" The god of thunder then sneered, defeating Hei Po with one punch. In my eyes, Hei Po isn't even worth mentioning. Fine, since you're so arrogant, let me teach you a lesson. The god of thunder had a bad temper and was vicious. What's the point? Fang Chen asked. None of the disciples who went against him had a good ending. As time passed, no one dared to provoke the god of thunder. In addition, the latter's overall strength could be ranked in the top 10 of the inner sect, so no one dared to provoke him. His body was directly sent flying by Fang Chen. As time passed, more and more disciples entered the gravity space. They all wanted to see Fang Chen's glory. Let's go take a look. Your thunder god mighty body art isn't suitable for me. The god of thunder stood up and walked into the gravity space. When the god of thunder entered the gravity space, the entire gravity space was in an uproar. Countless disciples looked at the god of thunder with burning eyes. The latter also enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. Who is Fang Chen? The god of thunder glanced at the crowd and said indifferently. His words were full of disdain. What he meant was, so what if you have an innate divine sigil of order? Won't you still be suppressed by me? Senior brother thunder god, where is he? A disciple pointed at Fang Chen, who was sitting cross-legged in the 7th zone, and whispered. The God of Thunder's gaze immediately fell on Fang Chen. Deng deng deng. The God of Thunder took a step forward, crossing 7 zones at a speed invisible to the naked eye, and arrived in front of Fang Chen. Is it interesting? Fang Chen asked. I heard that you have been very arrogant recently. Do you think that your body is invincible after defeating Hei Po? The God of Thunder's voice entered Fang Chen's ears. The God of Thunder's mighty body art had reached a new level. Fang Chen, who had his eyes closed, slowly opened his eyes, stood up, and stared at the God of Thunder. Are you the God of Thunder? Fang Chen asked. Are you looking down on my Thunder God mighty body art? The God of Thunder said coldly. Yes, I am the God of Thunder. Fang Chen shook his head, a trace of disappointment flashing in his eyes. Your Thunder God mighty body art isn't suitable for me. The God of Thunder's face instantly darkened. A trace of anger appeared in his heart. Are you looking down on my Thunder God mighty body art? The God of Thunder said coldly. Is it interesting? Fang Chen said. Do you dare to fight with me? The God of Thunder was aggressive. Fang Chen frowned, very unhappy. He didn't like the God of Thunder's arrogant tone, and he didn't want to waste time. Not interested. His purpose of coming here was to obtain a suitable body refining divine art. The Thunder God mighty body art wasn't suitable for him, so he naturally didn't want to waste time fighting. It seems that other than the mysterious number 1 expert, Han Yuan, there is no hope for other body refining divine art. Fang Chen said to himself. The God of Thunder's mind moved, and terrifying lightning filled the 7th area. He wanted to force Fang Chen to fight. The latter frowned and stepped into the 8th area. At this point, the God of Thunder sneered, defeating Hei Po with a punch. In my eyes, Hei Po is not worth mentioning. Well, since you are so arrogant, let me teach you a lesson. The God of Thunder followed and entered the 8th area, continuing to disturb Fang Chen's cultivation. Is the God of Thunder so petty? Fang Chen asked. Fang Chen pondered for a moment, and then said, I need origin stones. Fight with me, the God of Thunder said aggressively. What if you lose? Fang Chen asked. The Thunder God mighty body art is a very strong body refining divine art, but unfortunately it doesn't suit me, Fang Chen thought to himself. Thunder God tyrant body art, take it. Fang Chen withdrew his fist and looked at the God of Thunder. Humph. Last time you defeated me by a hair's breadth. This time, let's see how you resist my Thunder God mighty body art. Fang Chen shook his head and said, I said that your Thunder God mighty body art is not suitable for me. You can understand it as I don't like it. Do you dare to fight with me? The God of Thunder was aggressive. The God of Thunder was angry, but he forcibly restrained himself. Then what do you want? Fang Chen pondered for a moment, and then said, I need origin stones. Speaking of Korean yuan, everyone knew about it. Whoosh. What if you lose? Fang Chen asked. The God of Thunder waved his hand, and suddenly 10,000 mid-grade origin stones appeared in front of him. He looked at Fang Chen and said, if I lose, these are for you. But if you lose, kneel, kowtow, and call me Grandpa 3 times. How about it? Boom. No problem. Fang Chen shrugged. The next moment, he used all his strength and punched at Fang Chen. He didn't seem to care at all, as if he wouldn't lose at all. Seeing this, the God of Thunder was even more annoyed. He went straight to the circular yellow area, and his cold eyes stared at Fang Chen, and said, a natural divine sigil of order, kneel, kowtow, and call me Grandpa. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Fang Chen strolled over and said, but some things are always unexpected. Boom. Among the 100 inner sect disciples, only Han Yuan was worthy of the God of Thunder's attention in terms of physical strength. The God of Thunder stood up and walked into the gravity space. The God of Thunder first used the Thunder God tyrannical body art, and the terrifying aura of thunder pressed against Fang Chen. Thunder runes flickered on the surface of his skin, crackling and popping. Thump. Thump. Senior brother Thunder God, where is it? When the power of thunder in the void gathered together, the God of Thunder suddenly grabbed at the void. Suddenly, A round ball of thunder appeared in his palm. Crack. Your thunder god tyrannical body art is not suitable for me. The thunder god exerted force in his palm and crushed the lightning ball. The violent lightning energy drilled into his palm. The next moment, he used all his strength and punched at Fang Chen. However, on this day, myriad sword body. Facing the god of thunder, Fang Chen didn't dare to be careless, and activated the myriad sword body to the extreme. Do you dare to fight with me? The god of thunder was aggressive. Bang! In an instant, the god of thunder's fist heavily bombarded Fang Chen's body. However, it was blocked by the myriad sword domain. Boom! The god of thunder's fist exploded with a deafening sound, but it couldn't move an inch. After listening to the contents of the communication jade pendant, the god of thunder licked his dry lips, and a trace of contempt appeared in his eyes. Now it's my turn to attack, right? Fang Chen's face was calm, and his body trembled, and he suddenly punched out. Seeing this, the god of thunder was even more annoyed. He went straight to the round yellow area, and his cold eyes stared at Fang Chen. The owner of the divine rune of order kneels down and kowtows to me, calling me grandfather. Just thinking about it makes me happy. The seemingly light punch actually contained the power of 1,000 catties. Fang Chen frowned, very unhappy. He didn't like the god of thunder's arrogant tone, and he didn't want to waste time. Dong! The god of thunder's face instantly darkened. A trace of anger appeared in his heart. When his fist collided with the god of thunder's body, the sound of the latter's bones breaking suddenly rang out. The god of thunder's body was directly sent flying by Fang Chen. The entire gravity space was dead silent. Everyone looked at all of this with their mouths agape, and they couldn't believe it. Fang Chen withdrew his fist, and his eyes fell on the god of thunder's body. The god of thunder's body art is a very strong body refining divine art. Unfortunately, it doesn't suit me, Fang Chen thought to himself. With his level 4 myriad sword body, it was more than enough to deal with the god of thunder's body art. However, he also knew that in terms of real combat strength, he might not be able to defeat the god of thunder. Ah! The god of thunder screamed crazily, and quickly got up, his scarlet eyes staring at Fang Chen. Myriad sword body? Chapter 22:12. A genius remembers love in 1 second. We provide you with interesting novels to read. The myriad sword body was recognized as one of the top 10 physiques in the chaotic void sword Dao. No, to be exact, it was one of the top 5 geniuses in the inner sect who could compete with Han Yuan. Moreover, as one's strength increased, the tenacity of the myriad sword body would become stronger and stronger. It was very likely to stimulate unprecedented potential. In the Wuji sword sect, the most suitable physique for sword cultivation was the myriad sword body. In the gravity space, Fang Chen's limelight was unparalleled. Thunder God did not investigate Fang Chen's background, so he did not know that he had the myriad sword body. Now, Thunder God was a little jealous of this lucky guy in front of him. Not only did he absorb the innate sacred runes of order, but he also had a powerful physique that sword cultivators dreamed of. This is great. Such benefits, gathered on the body of a divine inscription realm martial artist, was simply a waste of heavenly gifts. But, what could he do? The 4th move of the traceless sword art has really reached my limit. If I had another chance, I might not be able to create it, Fang Chen said to himself. Damn it! Thunder God cursed in his heart as he clenched his fists. The myriad sword body was the nemesis of his Thunder God mighty body. No wonder he could not break through his opponent's defense with his full strength. At this moment, Thunder God was in a dilemma. If he continued to fight, his Thunder God mighty body would be restrained, and he would not have the advantage in terms of pure physical strength. As time went on, he would still lose. If he did not continue to fight, he would not admit defeat. Thunder God's expression kept changing for a moment. Inside the gravity space, the hearts of all the martial artists were in turmoil. Thunder God seems to be hesitating. In the next moment, Fang Chen laughed excitedly. Thunder God mighty body is restrained. It is not possible for him to defeat Fang Chen with pure physical strength. I have to say, the myriad sword body is really powerful. Many disciples were commenting on this battle. He Po's loss is justified. in the circular yellow area. After half a year, he could already apply his space-time cultivation to the fourth move. When Thunder God heard the discussions of these disciples, he wished he could smash Fang Chen's head with his fist. However, he couldn't do it. At least, he couldn't do it in the gravitational space. The green hills never change, and the green waters flow forever. After a while, the God of Thunder admitted defeat. He threw down 10,000 mid-grade origin stones, turned around, and left. Seeing this, Fang Chen was a little stunned. This Thunder God was quite smart. He knew that there was no point in continuing the battle after being restrained by his myriad sword body. If it were an ordinary cultivator, they would definitely fight to the death for the sake of face. Fang Chen's pitch-black eyes stared into the void. I wonder when Han Yuan will come out of seclusion. Moreover, as his strength increased, the tenacity of the myriad sword's body would become stronger and stronger, and it was very likely to stimulate unprecedented potential. Jian Wuji stood there quietly, allowing the transparent sword light to hit his body and then gradually dissipate. Fang Chen wanted to cultivate the myriad sword body to the late stage of level 4 or even the peak of level 4 before Han Yuan came out of seclusion. That way, he would have a greater chance of defeating Han Yuan. However, things didn't go as he wished. He devoted himself wholeheartedly to tempering his body, but to no avail. On the other hand, there were signs of a breakthrough in his traceless sword art. Fang Chen, who was cultivating in the gravitational space, suddenly stood up and hurriedly left. Soon, he returned to his residence, sat down cross-legged, and began to practice the traceless sword art. All this time, Fang Chen had been seeking to perfect and modify the traceless sword art to its strongest power. In his mind, the 6 golden figures each performed the traceless sword art. 6 different sword lights were constantly circulating. Fang Chen carefully observed the traceless sword art performed by the 6 golden figures. He Po's loss was justified. Suddenly, his mind became clear. In the gravitational space, no one could compare to Fang Chen's limelight for a while. At this moment, the God of Thunder was in a dilemma. I see. After releasing his inner emotions, Fang Chen gradually calmed down. When he saw Jian Wuji, he hurriedly greeted him. The next moment, Fang Chen laughed heartily. He was very excited. In the gravitational space, the hearts of all the martial artists were in a perilous situation. In the Wuji sword sect, the most suitable physique for sword cultivation was the myriad sword body. But what could he do? In his mind, the 6 golden figures each performed the traceless sword art. 6 different sword lights were constantly circulating. Striking while the iron was hot, he took out the supreme-grade universe-level weapon, the hidden star sword, and quickly performed the traceless sword art in the courtyard. Shio! Streaks of sword light shattered the void and circled around him. His mind trembled, and extremely violent sword chi surged out from his body. The direction of the 4th move of the traceless sword art should be the direction of the collapse of the void. When the sword strikes, the void shatters. Fang Chen had already roughly determined the direction of the traceless sword art's development. This way, it would be easier to evolve the 4th move. He wholeheartedly devoted himself to tempering his body, but to no avail. If Fang Chen could reach the Unity Realm, he would probably be able to sweep through the younger generation of Dongxian Heaven. Although the first 3 moves were known as traceless and transparent, they were purely offensive. As for the 4th move, Fang Chen suddenly had an idea. What if it was related to the space-time cultivation system? What would happen? Thinking of this, Fang Chen tried to fuse his space-time cultivation comprehension into the traceless sword art. In the courtyard, Fang Chen was performing a messy sword dance by himself. After a long time, the God of Thunder admitted defeat. On the peak of the Wuji Sword Mountain, on the sky-piercing stone pillar, Jian Wuji squinted his eyes and stared at Fang Chen with interest. This fellow is indeed a sword Dao genius seen once in a trillion years. The 4th move of the traceless sword art. The 4th move of the traceless sword art combined the space-time cultivation system. The moves were even more unpredictable, and it was several times more powerful than the previous 3 moves. After watching for a long time, Jian Wuji could not help but sigh. He walked to the side of the latter and patted his shoulder lightly, saying, to be able to create this move, you can sweep through mid-stage Unity Realm martial artists. No one had cultivated the traceless sword art for 10 billion years. Not only did this fellow cultivate it, but he was also creating the fourth move. If he could succeed, his strength would at least be in the top 10. Truly delightful. No, to be precise, he would at least be in the top 5 of the inner sect. He would be a heaven's pride that could compete with Han Yuan. Interesting. Every time he performs a sword dance, he can actually change the flow of time around him. Furthermore, he seems to be able to affect the operation of space. Seeing this, Zhen Wuji was eager to see if Fang Chen could succeed. In the courtyard, Han Yuan had come out of seclusion half a year ago. It was said that even the god of thunder was at a disadvantage in a contest of fleshy body. Fang Chen had been performing a messy sword dance for a year. For an entire year, Fang Chen had been performing the traceless sword art without rest. After 3 months, he had already simulated the fourth move's wrinkled shape. Half a year later, he was able to use his space-time cultivation comprehension into the fourth move. A year later, he had basically completed the creation of the fourth move. Xiu. Fang Chen, who was performing a sword dance, suddenly stopped in his tracks. His mind trembled, and extremely violent sword qi surged out from his body. Whoosh. At this moment, Zhen Wuji appeared. Attack me. As soon as Zhen Wuji finished speaking, Fang Chen couldn't care less. Fang Chen had already roughly finalized the development direction of the traceless sword art. This way, it would be easier to evolve the fourth move. Right now, the power in his body was too strong and needed to be released. The fourth move of the traceless sword art. Fang Chen shouted in a low voice. The hidden star sword in his hand drew a strange trajectory in the sky. Suddenly, an extremely terrifying transparent sword light quickly shattered the void and appeared in front of Zhen Wuji. The transparent long sword disappeared without a trace, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. If he could really succeed, his strength would at least be in the top 10. As soon as it appeared, a subtle aura instantly enveloped Zhen Wuji. The flow of time and the operation of space are changing slightly. Before the sword light arrives, it has already restrained the enemy. This move is very good. Zhen Wuji stood there quietly, allowing the transparent sword light to strike his body before gradually dissipating. He had a high evaluation of Fang Chen, especially the fourth move of the traceless sword art. It was unexpected. But what could he do? Greetings, Sect Master. Zhen Wuji told Fang Chen about some of his problems with the sword Dao before disappearing. After releasing his inner emotions, Fang Chen gradually regained his composure. When he saw Zhen Wuji, he hurriedly greeted him. Zhen Wuji waved his hand, indicating for Fang Chen to take a rest. If it was an ordinary warrior, they would definitely fight to the death for their face. Zhen Wuji walked to the side of Zhen Wuji and patted his shoulder lightly, saying, to be able to create this move, you can sweep away all middle-stage Unity Realm warriors. The key point of this move is its unpredictability. The transparent sword light itself is traceless, and with your control of space-time, you have grasped it perfectly. Even if you know that you are using the traceless sword art, you can't avoid it. Zhen Wuji commented. Many thanks for Sect Master's praise. Fang Chen said humbly. In reality, there was some luck involved in creating this move. You are a 1 in a billion sword Dao genius. With your current strength, you can be ranked in the top 5 of the inner sect. Zhen Wuji said slowly, once you step into the Unity Realm, even Han Yuan won't be your opponent. Fang Chen's rise signified the arrival of the golden age of the limitless sword sect's younger generation. If Fang Chen could reach the Unity Realm, he could sweep away all the younger generation of the Eastern Profound Heaven, right? After entering the inner sect for a short year, such a huge change was inseparable from his innate divine runes of order. In the limitless sword sect, the most suitable physique for sword cultivation was the myriad sword body. Zhen Wuji told Fang Chen about some of his problems with the sword Dao before disappearing. The fourth move of the traceless sword art has really reached my limit. If I was given another chance, I might not be able to create it. Fang Chen thought to himself. No matter what, after creating the fourth move of the traceless sword art, he could completely protect himself in the inner sect. Shio. This is really satisfying. Fang Chen's rise signified the arrival of the golden age of the limitless sword sect's younger generation. Fang Chen grinned. The fourth move of the traceless sword art combined the space-time cultivation system, making the moves more unpredictable. It was several times more powerful than the previous 3 moves. At the same time, in a luxurious courtyard, Han Yuan, who was dressed in cold clothes, was holding a teacup. He sensed the energy ripples in the courtyard where Fang Chen was. He took a sip of tea and smiled. This guy seems to have gained quite a lot after a year of closed-door cultivation. After half a year, he could already apply the space-time cultivation to the 4th move. Striking while the iron was hot, he took out the supreme-grade universe-grade weapon, the hidden star sword, and quickly brandished the traceless sword art in the courtyard. Han Yuan had come out of closed-door cultivation half a year ago. It was said that in a contest of physical strength, even the god of thunder was at a disadvantage. In the gravitational space, Fang Chen's limelight was unmatched. Chapter 22:13. A genius remembers love in 1 second. We provide you with interesting novels to read. In fact, when Fang Chen created the 4th move of the traceless sword art, Jian Wuji knew that it wouldn't take long for him to surpass Han Yuan and become the benchmark of the new generation of the Wuji sword sect. Especially with the innate divine rune of order, his strength would be even more terrifying in the future. Whoosh! Just as Jian Wuji left and Fang Chen put away the hidden star sword, the void trembled and Han Yuan appeared. Looking at you, you seem to have gained a lot. Fang Chen and Han Yuan sat on the mountain peak, their clothes drenched in sweat. Their faces were full of smiles. As he spoke, Han Yuan extended his hand in front of Fang Chen. The latter took a look and extended his hand, politely shaking Han Yuan's hand. Dong. Han Yuan pursed his lips and smiled. His first impression of Fang Chen was quite good. You are Han Yuan. There was no need to guess. To be able to silently appear in front of him and face the sharp sword aura in the courtyard so calmly, there couldn't be anyone else other than Han Yuan. Junior brother Fang, your swordsmanship is really impressive. Not bad, let's get to know each other. I am Han Yuan. A good divine technique should be cultivated by a peerless genius. As he spoke, Han Yuan extended his hand in front of Fang Chen. Of course, I want to see your innate divine rune of order. Han Yuan said. The latter took a look and extended his hand, politely shaking Han Yuan's hand. I am Fang Chen said. Han Yuan's face was full of smiles as he retracted his hand. In the past 6 months, I have heard many disciples talking about you. Some are belittling you, while others are praising you. Before I met you, I had imagined countless times what kind of person you were. However, after meeting you today, you have exceeded my expectations. Oh! In senior brother Han Yuan's eyes, what kind of person am I? Fang Chen said with a smile. He felt that Han Yuan was not bad. Even though he was the #1 disciple in the inner sect, he did not have the slightest bit of arrogance. On the contrary, he was rather courteous towards him. Han Yuan gazed at Fang Chen. After a long time, he said, I can't see through you. In fact, before he said this, Han Yuan did not dare to believe his own judgment. He was an expert at the peak of the Unity realm. His strength was exceedingly high, allowing him to sweep across all inner sect disciples. Even among the Unity realm experts in the Eastern Profound Heaven, he was quite famous. However, even though Fang Chen was right in front of him, he couldn't see through him. Senior brother Han Yuan is too modest, said Fang Chen. Han Yuan shook his head. What he said was true. The more he interacted with Fang Chen, the more shocked he felt. Junior brother Fang, take this. Fang Chen didn't want to linger on this topic, so he waved his hand and asked with a smile, I wonder why senior brother Han Yuan is looking for me. However, before he left, he had to raise his ranking. Oh! What kind of person am I in senior brother Han Yuan's eyes? Fang Chen smiled. He felt that this Han Yuan was quite good. Of course, I want to see your innate god rune of order. Han Yuan said. I am not a match for senior brother Han Yuan, Fang Chen said directly. Don't worry. There is no need to determine the victor between us. I just want to see your innate God rune of order, Han Yuan said. Hua la. In the end, Fang Chen agreed to Han Yuan's request. A good divine technique should be cultivated by an absolute monster. He also wanted to know what level his strength had reached. Here? Fang Chen asked. Follow me. Han Yuan's figure flashed and entered the void. Seeing this, Fang Chen grinned and followed closely behind. He was an expert at the peak of the Unity realm. His strength was exceedingly high, allowing him to sweep across all inner sect disciples. Even among the Unity realm experts in the Eastern Profound Heaven, he was quite famous. The cold wind rustled. On a desolate mountain peak in the limitless Sword Mountain range, no one came here all year round. Han Yuan's figure flashed and entered the void. Seeing this, Fang Chen grinned and followed closely behind. However, only one sword could decide the outcome of the battle. On the mountain peak, Fang Chen and Han Yuan looked at each other. Sharp sword chi flashed around their bodies. Fighting with Fang Chen could be considered as fulfilling the wish of all these years. Junior brother Fang, make your move, Han Yuan said. Fang Chen nodded and released his innate God rune of order. Wang. An extremely terrifying power swept across the entire mountain peak. Seeing this, Han Yuan retreated quickly. His eyes widened as he stared at the innate God rune of order above Fang Chen's head. Fang Chen did not hide his strength. He directly executed the fourth move of the traceless sword technique. Is this the legendary innate God rune of order? Han Yuan felt that the suppression of the innate God rune of order was too strong. If I were in the divine rune realm, I would lose without a fight, Han Yuan said to himself. However, his eyes were burning with passion. Junior brother Fang, take this, Han Yuan bellowed as he brandished the long sword in his hand. A dazzling golden sword radiance expanded in the void. Then, it charged toward Fang Chen with an unstoppable force. After seeing the innate God rune of order, Han Yuan proposed to fight with Fang Chen using his physical body. Traceless sword technique. Fang Chen did not hide his strength. He directly executed the fourth move of the traceless sword technique. This was a sword technique that he had just created. Its attack power was extremely strong. Crack. As soon as the fourth move of the traceless sword technique was executed, it directly shattered the void. Dong. After the two sword lights collided, there was a deafening sound. Then, the two sword lights shattered at the same time. Fang Chen could not help but take a few steps back. After stabilizing his body, the divine rune of order drilled into his body. He looked at Han Yuan in shock. Amazing. He kept the hidden star sword and gave Han Yuan a thumbs up. Junior brother Fang, your sword technique is really amazing. Fang Chen's voice was transmitted into the courtyard of the God of Thunder. Han Yuan could not help but praise Fang Chen. He had used all his strength just now to barely block Fang Chen's attack. This was enough to shock him. As expected of the innate God rune of order. I am ashamed of my inferiority, Han Yuan said with a smile. If it was a battle of life and death, I would definitely die. Fang Chen said, Senior brother Han, you don't have to be humble. With your strength, it is hard to find a match even in the Unity realm. Han Yuan shook his head. From a certain point of view, he had already lost. After all, Fang Chen's cultivation was only at the divine rune realm, while he had reached the peak of the Unity realm. On the mountain peak, a violent wind blew and thunder rumbled. After seeing the innate God rune of order, Han Yuan proposed to fight against Fang Chen with his fleshly body. The myriad sword body was stuck at a bottleneck, and Fang Chen naturally could not ask for more. Han Yuan's special physique was the rare murderous sword body. Although it was only one word different from the myriad sword body, there was still a slight difference between the two. On the mountain peak, a violent wind blew and thunder rumbled. After a while, Fang Chen and Han Yuan sat on the mountain peak. Their clothes were drenched in sweat, but their faces were filled with smiles. It has been a long time since I had such an enjoyable battle, Han Yuan said. Ever since he became the #1 inner sect disciple, no one could challenge his position, not even the God of Thunder and the others. Don't worry. There is no need to determine the victor between us. I just need to see the innate God rune of order. Han Yuan said. But now, Fang Chen's fleshly body was actually on par with his. Han Yuan could not help but praise Fang Chen. He had used all his strength just now to barely block Fang Chen's attack. This was enough to shock him. Whoosh! Han Yuan waved his hand and a ray of light entered Fang Chen's mind. Fang Chen was about to speak when he suddenly sensed a large amount of information in the ray of light. He was shocked. Thunder rumbled incessantly in the sky. The god of thunder had displayed a terrifying attack power. This is my demonic dragon body refinement art. You are qualified to cultivate it. Han Yuan said calmly. Logically speaking, he was on par with Fang Chen, and could not be considered a loss. But with Han Yuan's pride, he believed that strictly speaking, he had lost. Moreover, he fully approved of Fang Chen cultivating the demonic dragon body refinement art. Han Yuan's figure flashed and disappeared into the void. Seeing this, Fang Chen grinned and followed closely behind. A good divine art should be cultivated by a peerless genius. Dong. Thank you, Senior Brother Han Yuan. Thank you, Senior Brother Han Yuan. Fang Chen cupped his fists and thanked him. He would never forget this kindness. Follow me. Perhaps in your hands, the demonic dragon body refinement art can flourish. Han Yuan said leisurely. Han Yuan pursed his lips and smiled. His first impression of Fang Chen was quite good. After fighting with Fang Chen, he had fulfilled his wish of all these years. I am not a match for Senior Brother Han Yuan. Fang Chen said directly. He was in a good mood. After resting for a long time, he stood up and looked at Fang Chen. Junior Brother Fang, cultivate well and strive to break through to the Unity realm as soon as possible. After obtaining the demonic dragon body refinement art, Fang Chen was not in a hurry to cultivate it. The god of thunder thought that he had misheard and revealed a disdainful expression. Do you really think that you can suppress me just because you defeated me with your fleshly body? He had another important thing to do now, and that was to return to the Myriad Devil Islands and retrieve the 9-star golden dragon ore. After obtaining the demonic dragon body refinement art, Fang Chen was not in a hurry to cultivate it. It has been more than a year. The amount of ore extracted should be quite a lot, right? Fang Chen thought. However, before leaving, he had to raise his ranking. Soon, Fang Chen found the courtyard of the God of Thunder. God of Thunder. Fang Chen's voice transmitted into the courtyard of the God of Thunder. Wang. A thunderbolt descended from the sky, and the tall figure of the God of Thunder appeared instantly. Fang Chen? What are you doing here? Ever since he lost to Fang Chen in the gravity space, the God of Thunder had been harboring hatred in his heart, waiting for an opportunity to take revenge. Of course I am here to challenge you. Fang Chen said indifferently. You want to challenge me? The God of Thunder thought that he had misheard and revealed a disdainful expression. Do you really think that you can suppress me just because you defeated me with your fleshly body? Seeing this, Fang Chen was too lazy to explain. Do you accept my challenge or not? Fang Chen asked impatiently. All right, I accept. The God of Thunder's voice was like thunder, exploding in the sky above the inner sect. Countless disciples heard the news and rushed over to watch from afar. Is Fang Chen crazy? He wants to challenge the God of Thunder. I am not a match for Senior Brother Han Yuan. Fang Chen said directly. The God of Thunder is ranked 5th in the inner sect. Did he eat too much? Just because his fleshly body is stronger than the God of Thunder, he is arrogant to this extent. Although he was ranked 1st in the inner sect, he did not have the slightest bit of arrogance. On the contrary, he was very polite to him. Ever since he became the inner sect's number 1, no one could challenge his position, not even the God of Thunder and the others. Many disciples did not have high hopes for Fang Chen, thinking that he was too arrogant. This is my demonic dragon body refinement art. You are qualified to cultivate it. Han Yuan said calmly. However, Fang Chen did not care. Kid, I will let you know the power of the God of Thunder. Crash. Rumble. Thunder rumbled in the sky as the God of Thunder displayed his terrifying attack power. Whoosh. However, only one sword could decide the outcome of the battle. After Fang Chen displayed the 4th move of the Traceless Sword art, he turned around and left, not even looking at the god of thunder. Fang Chen cupped his fists in thanks. He would never forget this kindness. Chapter 22:14. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. When Fang Chen's figure turned into a black dot and disappeared, the void collapsed. The invisible sword light pierced through the thunder god's defense with incomparable sharpness. Love go little say W, Chupuchi. The crisp and clear sound was shocking. The thunder god frantically tried to resist, but it was useless. The attack power of the sword light was too strong. Furthermore, when the sword light struck, the god of thunder vaguely felt that the flow of time and space around him had changed slightly, causing him to hallucinate. Although the stars turned around in an instant, it was still too late. Fang Chen's body flew out of the teleportation array in a sorry state. He coughed a few times and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. When the transparent sword light pierced through the thunder god's defense and pierced into his body, it directly exploded. The thunder god's body directly exploded, flesh and blood splattering everywhere. The badly mutilated body fell to the ground. Half of his body was destroyed, and blood stained his entire body. His skull was also directly shattered, and his primordial spirit floated out. At this moment, all the disciples' hearts were filled with admiration for Fang Chen. Ah! A miserable cry came from the thunder god's primordial spirit. The many disciples who were watching from afar were pulled back from their shock by this miserable cry. Overall, the development of the myriad demon islands was similar to Fang Chen's expectations. Stormy waves were set off in their hearts as they looked at the badly mutilated thunder god dumbfoundedly. Usually, they were known as the pillars of the younger generation of the Wuji sword sect. However, after entering the inner sect for so long, they had not made any name for themselves. Was this still the high and mighty thunder god in their hearts? One sword, just one sword, completely pierced through the thunder god's defense. The incident this time also reminded Fang Chen that he had to be careful of Tian Qing's remnant clan. The most important thing was that Fang Chen was so confident in his sword. After using it, he turned around and left, as if he had already expected such a result. At this moment, the admiration the disciples had for Fang Chen in their hearts could not be any greater. Those disciples who had once mocked and looked down on Fang Chen were trembling inside. Being able to send the thunder god flying with a single slash and almost kill him, such an expert was at least one of the top 3 in the inner sect. Unknowingly, Fang Chen had already reached such heights, while they were still mediocre. This was the difference between them. After a long while, the murderous aura in the air gradually dissipated. Some disciples who had a good relationship with Thunder God helped him up and brought him back to the courtyard for treatment. Even more disciples lowered their heads and quietly left. This battle had greatly stimulated them. Normally, they were the pillars of the younger generation of the Limitless Sword sect. However, after being in the inner sect for so long, he still hadn't made a name for himself. Being chased by 4 Unity Realm experts, he did not dare to be careless. He executed the 4th move of the Traceless Sword technique, forcing the Unity Realm experts to retreat. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he rushed into the teleportation array. On the other hand, Fang Chen had widened the gap between them in just a year. A crisp sound resounded. In the void outside Zikai town, fresh blood splattered and 2 corpses fell to the ground. Overall, the development of the Myriad Devil Island was more or less what Fang Chen had expected. After this battle, Fang Chen's name resounded throughout the inner sect. The attacks of the 4 Unity Realm experts landed on the teleportation array in an instant. Furthermore, he had replaced the Thunder God as the new 5th expert of the inner sect. Of course, everyone was clear that with Fang Chen's strength, he could easily be ranked in the top 3. But the latter did not seem to care. After defeating the Thunder God, he hurriedly left the inner sect. "It's you. Yi. There's actually a 9-star golden dragon mine here." The 4th move of the Traceless Sword technique was very powerful. It might not be enough to deal with Han Yuan, but it was more than enough to deal with the Thunder God. Fang Chen left the inner sect and arrived at the Star River prefecture of the outer sect. With the resources he left behind, Star and Moon had already grown. They were quite famous in the outer sect. After chatting for a while, Fang Chen took the teleportation array and arrived at Zekai Town. The target has appeared. Act immediately. Kill without mercy. The experts from the Sky Pillar Remnant clan who were hiding near Zekai Town attacked the moment they discovered Fang Chen. Kill. The 5 Unity Realm experts attacked Fang Chen together. Not good. Fang Chen cursed inwardly. He could feel a sharp aura approaching him. He executed the time-space collapse technique and rapidly fled. Die. The 5 Unity Realm experts appeared in 5 different directions around Zekai Town, surrounding Fang Chen in the middle. Fang Chen cursed inwardly. He could feel a sharp aura approaching him. He executed the time-space collapse technique and rapidly fled. It's you. The incident this time also reminded Fang Chen that he had to be careful of Tianqing's remnant clan. Sky Pillar Remnant Clan? Fang Chen's eyes revealed a trace of gloom when he saw this. Audacious. At this moment, ripples flickered in the void. Swordmaster appeared. The aura on Swordmaster's body was very strong. He flicked his finger, causing a sword light to shoot towards one of the experts surrounding Fang Chen. At that moment, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The entire Zekai Town was cut in half. The shockwaves from the battle were huge. Pu Kai. Fang Chen, who was near the teleportation array, had an extremely gloomy expression. This Unity Realm expert was heavily injured by Swordmaster. Just as Swordmaster was preparing to deal with another Unity Realm expert, a figure shrouded in black fog appeared in front of him. Just as Swordmaster was preparing to deal with another Unity Realm expert, a figure shrouded in black fog appeared in front of him. Swordmaster, your opponent is me. I am late. This was the gap between them. It's you. Swordmaster said gloomily. He slashed out with the sword in his hand. And even more disciples lowered their heads and left silently. At that moment, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The entire Zekai Town was cut in half. The shockwaves from the battle were huge. Let's end this quickly. Jian Wuji shook his head. It's not your fault. It's my negligence. The person in charge of the Sky Pillar Remnant clan also knew it wasn't wise to fight for a long time. He appeared here just to obstruct Swordmaster. Otherwise, it would be hard for the plan to succeed. Courting death. Swordmaster was furious. He attacked at lightning speed, displaying the absolute art of the limitless sword sect. He kept fighting with the person in charge of the Sky Pillar Remnant clan. The person in charge of the Sky Pillar Remnant clan also knew it wasn't wise to fight for a long time. He appeared here just to obstruct Swordmaster. Otherwise, it would be hard for the plan to succeed. He had already transmitted a message to Jian Wuji. The latter was on his way here. For a moment, it was hard for him to force the other party back. He had already transmitted a message to Jian Wuji. The latter was on his way here. At this moment, the void rippled and Swordmaster appeared. Fang Chen, who was near the teleportation array, had an extremely gloomy expression. Being chased by 4 Unity Realm experts, he did not dare to be careless. He executed the 4th move of his traceless sword technique, forcing back the Unity Realm experts who were close to him. He made use of this opportunity to rush into the teleportation array. Those disciples who once mocked and looked down on Fang Chen felt their hearts trembling. Attack together. Kill him. The attacks of the 4 Unity Realm experts landed on the teleportation array in an instant. Nevertheless, Fang Chen was the first to activate the teleportation array. White light flashed. The teleportation array suffered heavy damage, but it was still activated. Hua la. Fang Chen's figure disappeared from the teleportation array. Attack together. Kill him. And at the same time, the combined attacks of the 4 Unity Realm experts completely destroyed the teleportation array. Myriad Devil Islands, Training Ground, Floating Sky Palace. Damn. Seeing this, the person in charge of the Sky Pillar Remnant race cursed. He forced Swordmaster back with a punch before retreating rapidly. Thinking of leaving? Swordmaster's expression turned gloomy. He snorted and extended his hand, grabbing towards the void. At that moment, 2 Unity Realm experts were caught in his hands. Die. Ah. Swordmaster fell into madness. He erupted with a vast power, directly imprisoning the two Unity Realm experts. Hoo. Jian Wuji rushed over. He glanced at Swordmaster before slashing out at the void. Pu Kai. Audacious. A crisp sound rang out. Fresh blood splattered in the void outside Ze Kai town. Two corpses fell on the ground. At a glance, they were the two Unity Realm experts who had just escaped. As for the other two who were caught by Swordmaster, they knew they could not escape and directly exploded. Woof. The target has appeared. I am late. Jian Wuji came to the side of Swordmaster and said. This Unity Realm expert was heavily injured by Swordmaster. This matter is my fault. Did I underestimate the determination of the Sky Pillar Remnant race? Swordmaster asked. Jian Wuji shook his head. It is not your fault. It is my negligence. This matter is my fault. Did I underestimate the determination of the Sky Pillar Remnant race? Swordmaster asked. Cough. Myriad Devil Islands, training ground, floating sky palace. A few days later. Fang Chen's body flew out from the teleportation array in a sorry state. He coughed a few times before spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. Hua la. Damned Sky Pillar Remnant race. Fang Chen endured the injuries on his body. He sat cross-legged on the ground with difficulty and began recuperating. Fortunately, this teleportation array was established by an expert from the Void Star Heaven. Its sturdiness was extraordinary. Otherwise, he would have been heavily injured. The incident this time also reminded Fang Chen that he had to be careful of Tian Qing's remnant clan. A few days later, Fang Chen's injuries had more or less recovered. He left the training ground and came to the Myriad Devil Palace. My lord, why are you here? Myriad Devil Island Lord called out excitedly. Mokka was stunned for a moment before hurriedly saying, My lord. After a year of development, the Myriad Devil Islands were gradually recovering. In addition to the endless energy provided by the 9-star Golden Dragon ores, many divine inscriptions realm cultivators appeared in the Myriad Devil Islands. There were even 2 Unity realm cultivators. Overall, the development of the Myriad Devil Islands was more or less what Fang Chen expected. How much 9-star Golden Dragon ores have been mined in this year? Fang Chen asked. A total of 200 million ores have been mined. The development of the Myriad Devil Islands has used 50 million ores. There is still 150 million ores left. Myriad Devil Island Lord reported. As for the 2 who were caught by Swordmaster, they knew that they could not escape and directly exploded. Hearing this, Fang Chen nodded in satisfaction. The remaining 50 million ores can be left in the Myriad Devil Islands. I will take 100 million ores. Fang Chen said, Oh right, how long can the 9-star Golden Dragon ores be mined? Myriad Devil Island Lord pondered for a moment before saying, about 10 more years. At the same time, in the primal chaos void, an old man rode on a huge dog and floated near the 9-star Golden Dragon ores. Was this still the Thunder God in their hearts? Yi. There is actually a 9-star Golden Dragon ores here? The old man saw through the array and illusory realm set up by Fang Chen with a glance. Being chased by 4 Unity Realm experts, he did not dare to be careless. He executed the 4th move of the Traceless Sword technique, forcing the Unity Realm experts to retreat. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he rushed into the teleportation array. Woof. The huge dog under the old man let out a few barks. Don't be anxious. Such a huge ores should be enough for you to eat your fill. At the next moment, the old man rode on the huge dog and appeared above the 9-star Golden Dragon ores. Go and eat. Don't hurt the innocent cultivators. Chapter 22:15. Genius 1 second. Remember love go little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Just as he finished speaking, the big black dog had already charged toward Fang Chen. Hearing this, the big black dog lowered its head. Clearly, it knew how terrifying the innate order sigil was. The old man stood above the 9-star Gold Dragon mine and looked down. His mount, the big black dog, had already rushed into the mine and was crazily chewing on the 9-star Gold Dragon ore. I can't believe I found a 9-star Gold Dragon mine in such a remote place. Battle through the heavens manga ECX 16 == Lord Wang, something bad has happened. The old man was calm and composed as he muttered to himself. There were many unknown places in the vast chaotic void. Some seemed remote, but they contained endless treasures. This made the old man even more determined to continue traveling the chaotic void. In the 9-star gold dragon mine, the sudden appearance of the big black dog alarmed the miners. Beast, get out of here. The miners not far from the big black dog were all Void Realm warriors. Seeing this, they roared angrily and rushed toward the big black dog in a flash. Woof, woof, woof. The big black dog swallowed a large piece of 9-star gold dragon ore and barked at the Void Realm miners. Suddenly, a terrifying aura swept over. The miners were shocked to find that their bodies were imprisoned in the void, unable to move. Some time ago, I heard that an innate order sigil appeared in the void star sky. You must have obtained it, right? The old man continued to ask. The latter had no choice but to use his most powerful attack. They looked at the big black dog in horror, but the latter didn't care about them at all. It turned its head and continued to devour the ore. The 4th level of the traceless sword technique was instantly used. The extremely strange transparent sword light changed the flow of time around it and stabbed toward the big black dog. Whoosh! When the big black dog was far away, the miners could finally move their bodies. Quickly find Lord Wang. The miners hurried to a spacious area in the mine. There was a temporary room here, and Lord Wang, who was in charge of supervising the work, was resting here. Lord Wang, something bad has happened. Lord Wang, something big has happened to the mine. To think that a 9-star golden dragon vein would be discovered in such a remote place. Little friend, was the rune you unleashed earlier an innate divine rune of order? The old man asked in a gentle manner. Hearing their voices, a divine inscriptions realm martial artist walked out from the crowd. What the hell happened? Lord Wang asked with a frown. The big black dog swallowed a large piece of 9-star golden dragon ore in one gulp before barking at a few Void Realm miners. This was the territory of the myriad Devil Islands. Who would dare to behave atrociously here? A big black dog descended from the sky and is devouring the mine. That big black dog is too scary. Just as we were about to get close, it imprisoned our bodies in the void. After hearing their reports, Lord Wang realized that the situation was more troublesome than he had expected. He immediately reported this matter to the Myriad Devil Islands. Traceless Sword Technique. Myriad Devil Islands, Myriad Devil Hall. Just as Fang Chen was conversing with the Myriad Devil Islands Lord, the latter's countenance suddenly changed. What's wrong? Fang Chen asked. Lord, something bad has happened. The Myriad Devil Islands Lord said, our men discovered a big black dog descending from the sky and entering the mine. It is devouring the ore. A few miners tried to stop it, but the big dog merely bit them a few times and their bodies were imprisoned in the void. The Myriad Devil Islands Lord said slowly. Hearing this, Fang Chen stood up. He had set up a heaven-piercing array and multiple illusory realms. Ordinary divine inscriptions realm martial artists wouldn't be able to sneak in silently. What the hell happened? However, this old man has never taken advantage of others. Since this mine is yours, I will naturally compensate you. The old man continued. To be able to witness an innate divine rune of order, this trip is not in vain. Ha ha ha. Could it be a Unity Realm expert? Fang Chen pondered rapidly in his mind. At the same time, he left the Myriad Devil Islands and flew towards the location of the 9-star Golden Dragon mine. Tell them not to act rashly. Wait for me to arrive before making a decision. Fang Chen said. At that moment, a terrifying aura swept over. A few miners were shocked to discover that their bodies were imprisoned in the void. They couldn't move at all. A few miners tried to stop it, but the big dog merely bit them a few times and their bodies were imprisoned in the void. The Myriad Devil Islands Lord said slowly. His voice sounded a little impatient. Ordinary divine inscriptions realm martial artists would definitely not come to such a remote place. The only possibility was that some unparalleled expert was traveling through the primal chaos void and accidentally discovered this mine. A few days later, Fang Chen arrived at the location of the 9-star Golden Dragon mine. His body floated in the void. When he looked over, he was slightly surprised. The array and the illusory realm don't show any signs of damage. How did the big black dog enter? Fang Chen's figure flashed and arrived above the mine. A few days later, Fang Chen arrived at the location of the 9-star Golden Dragon mine. Stop. The old man was nearby, but he didn't notice him at all. He spread out his spiritual sense and instantly enveloped the entire mine. Soon, he discovered the big black dog. At this moment, Fang Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. He looked at the mine below in disbelief. What was once a perfect mineral vein had now become a mess. Most importantly, 2/3 of the mine was gone. Only a small portion was left. The big black dog stood in the depths of the mine and devoured it in big mouthfuls. Raw. It ate all of it. Fang Chen muttered to himself. His heart was in turmoil. He couldn't see through the big black dog's realm. This made him somewhat afraid to act rashly. The old man nearby was also observing Fang Chen with interest. Hey! The old man was surprised to find that Fang Chen actually had the body of 10,000 swords. He is a good sword cultivator seedling. I just don't know how much potential he has, the old man said indifferently. Then, he stood with his hands behind his back and his gaze fell on his big black dog. If it eats all of this mine, Xiao Hei can sleep for another 100 years, right? The old man said. Swoosh. Fang Chen used the space-time collapse skill and instantly arrived in the depths of the mine. The big black dog that was devouring the ore found him and barked at him. Fellow cultivator, this mine is mine. It doesn't seem right for you to swallow it without knowing the truth. Fang Chen cupped his hands and said. A look of surprise appeared on his face. He hurriedly stopped the big black dog. Xiao Hei, stop. Woof. 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 The big black dog couldn't control him. After barking a few times, it continued to devour. Seeing this, Fang Chen was a little angry. Stop. Fang Chen let out a low growl and threw out a punch that landed directly on the big black dog. Suddenly, a terrifying aura swept over. The miners were shocked to find that their bodies were imprisoned in the void and they couldn't move. Immediately, the big black dog stopped eating. Its black eyes, which were as big as gongs, stared at Fang Chen. Fellow cultivator, this mine is mine. It doesn't seem right for you to swallow it without knowing the truth. Fang Chen cupped his hands and said. Woof. The big black dog barked at the sky and charged straight at Fang Chen. The big black dog opened its mouth and bit at the divine rune of order. It wanted to devour the damn divine rune. The old man stood on the 9-star Golden Dragon mine and looked down. What a powerful aura. After listening to the reports of the few people, Lord Wang felt that things were more troublesome than expected. The old man was right in front of him, but he couldn't detect him with his divine sense. Fang Chen let out a low growl and threw out a punch that landed directly on the big black dog. After feeling the wild aura of the big black dog, Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. He used the space-time collapse technique and took out the hidden star sword. Hearing the voices of the few people, a divine rune realm martial artist walked out. Traceless sword technique. The 4th level of the traceless sword technique was instantly displayed. The extremely strange transparent sword light changed the flow of time and stabbed at the big black dog. What did this mean? It meant that the old man's strength was far beyond his. Crack. The big black dog opened its mouth and bit the transparent sword light with its teeth. Fang Chen's heart trembled. Wasn't this big black dog a little too powerful? Above the mine, the old man nodded slightly when he saw Fang Chen display the traceless sword technique. Not bad. This young man's potential in the sword Dao is already extraordinary, the old man said. However, he didn't think that Fang Chen could withstand the attack of the big black dog. Fang Chen was talking to the myriad Demon Island Lord when the latter's expression suddenly changed. Just as he finished speaking, the big black dog had already charged towards Fang Chen once again. The latter had no choice but to use his strongest attack. Above his head, an extremely shocking innate divine rune of order suddenly appeared. In an instant, the aura within the entire mine became incomparably solemn. Roar. Immediately, the big black dog stopped eating. Its black eyes, which were as big as gongs, stared at Fang Chen. The big black dog opened its mouth and bit at the innate divine rune of order without hesitation. It wanted to devour this damned divine rune. When the old man above the mine saw the innate divine rune of order, his expression changed drastically. A look of surprise appeared on his face and he hurriedly stopped the big black dog. Xiao Hei, stop. A big black dog descended from the sky and is devouring the mine. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure appeared between Xiao Hei and Fang Chen. With a gentle wave of his hand, the innate divine rune of order above Fang Chen's head was forcibly suppressed. The big black dog also stopped attacking and licked the old man's palm with its big tongue. You dare to devour the innate divine rune of order? The old man glared at the big black dog and said slowly. Hearing this, the big black dog lowered its head. Obviously, it also knew how terrifying the innate divine rune of order was. The old man turned to look at Fang Chen with a trace of surprise in his eyes. Young friend, what you just released, was it the innate divine rune of order? The old man asked gently. Fang Chen nodded. His heart was in turmoil. The old man was right in front of him, but his consciousness couldn't capture him at all. The old man said calmly. Then, he stood with his hands behind his back. His gaze fell on his black dog. What did this mean? It meant that the old man's strength was far beyond his. Some time ago, I heard that an innate divine rune of order appeared in the void star sky. I think you must have obtained it. The old man continued to ask. Senior, I have offended you. The old man nearby also observed Fang Chen with interest. Such an expert could kill without leaving a trace, and Fang Chen didn't dare to offend him. The old man waved his hand, indicating that it was fine. A genius who can absorb the innate divine rune of order is indeed one in a million. Xiao Hei and I were passing by and found this mine. Xiao Hei happened to be hungry and ate some of your ore, the old man said with a smile. Chapter 22:16. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. According to the information we have, the surviving members of Tian Qing's clan in Eastern Profound Heaven have only one mission, and that is to kill you. Love go little say W, Chu Jian Wuji continued. Fang Chen's defeat of Thunder God and his rise to the top 5 of the inner sect had caused a huge commotion. However, Fang Chen himself didn't care about this at all. All his actions were to improve his strength and protect the people he wanted to protect. Thunder God was furious, but he couldn't do anything about it. After returning to the inner sect, he originally wanted to comprehend the insights left behind by Paragon Demon Sword. Who knew that Jian Wuji would come looking for him? Sect Master. Jian Wuji nodded and sat down on the stone bench in the pavilion. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Fang Chen with a faint smile. Being stared at by such an expert made Fang Chen feel uncomfortable. You should know that Tian Qing's clan has revived in Void Star Sky and wants to occupy it, Jian Wuji said. Fang Chen nodded and listened quietly. According to the information we have, the surviving members of Tian Qing's clan in Eastern Profound Heaven have only one mission, and that is to kill you, Jian Wuji continued. His hatred for Fang Chen increased. Fang Chen curled his lips when he heard this. He felt a little helpless. It was all because of the innate divine runes of order. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been targeted by Tian Qing's clan. Of course, you don't have to worry. Swordmaster will always protect you in the dark. Jian Wuji chuckled. How's your cultivation recently? Are you confident in defeating Han Yuan? How could he miss out on such a good cultivation ground? Han Yuan was worthy of being the #1 person in the inner sect. He was a peak Unity Realm expert. Jian Wuji had high expectations for Fang Chen. Ever since Fang Chen defeated Thunder God, Jian Wuji knew that Fang Chen had grown. Thunder God was furious, but he couldn't do anything about it. The innate divine runes of order had brought him great benefits. Over time, Fang Chen's understanding of alchemy also improved greatly. Senior apprentice brother Han Yuan is a peak Unity Realm expert. It will be quite difficult to defeat him, Fang Chen said humbly. Jian Wuji didn't ask any further. The smile on his face gradually disappeared and was replaced by a solemn expression. I came to find you because I have something to tell you, Jian Wuji said. Our Dongxian heaven has a total of 3 top sects and a few first-rate sects. Every once in a while, we will send the elite disciples of the sect to exchange pointers with each other. Due to the appearance of Tian Qing's descendants, our plans were disrupted. Therefore, after our discussion, this exchange will be held in advance. Furthermore, we will integrate the entire exchange process and select the 5 strongest disciples, sending them to a secret place. Jian Wuji said. Hearing this, Fang Chen was slightly tempted. He could feel that Jian Wuji's tone was somewhat serious. It seemed that the appearance of Tian Qing's descendants had completely disrupted Dongxian Heaven's situation. Jian Wuji had high expectations of Fang Chen. Since Fang Chen had defeated Thunder God, he knew that Fang Chen had grown up. Dongshuan's Grand Meet is the grandest event in Dongxian Heaven. Many sect will participate. Every sect will send some disciples to participate. It looks like a competition between disciples, but it is actually a competition between the reserve forces of the sect, Jian Wuji said. I plan to let you participate. With Fang Chen's strength, he was qualified to participate in Dongshuan's Grand Meet. Dongshuan's Grand Meet will be held in the Divine Phoenix sect. 3 months later, I will take you to the Divine Phoenix sect. Cultivate well during this time. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Jian Wuji and Fang Chen chatted for a long time. During this time, Jian Wuji also gave some pointers regarding the Sword Dao. Taking advantage of Dongshuan's grand meeting this time, the leaders of the various sects had to discuss how to completely eradicate the remnants of Tianqing's family. Fang Chen said apologetically, "My apologies, this junior is focused on cultivation. I came to you this time because I have something to tell you." Jian Wuji said, Dongxian Heaven has 3 top sects and some first-rate sects. Every once in a while, we will send elite disciples from our sect to exchange pointers. However, as soon as Jian Wuji left, Fang Chen was called to the medicine hall by Ling Danzi. You still know to come back. Ling Danzi glared at Fang Chen and said with some displeasure. Senior. Fang Chen said apologetically. He had promised Ling Danzi that if he entered the inner sect, he would be Ling Danzi's medicine boy for 3 years. This was the Divine Phoenix sect's territory. It was not impossible to quietly coerce and lure him to hand over the innate soul reversal art. The Grand Meet of Dongxian will be held in the Divine Phoenix sect. 3 months later, I will bring you all to the Divine Phoenix sect. During this time, you should cultivate well. From then on, they would pass it down from generation to generation with the goal of obtaining the innate soul reversal art. He had been busy during this time and had no time to care about Ling Danzi, so he felt a little apologetic. All right, no more nonsense. I am going to start refining the pills. Ling Danzi waved his hand and concentrated on concocting pills. Fang Chen was responsible for assisting from the side, playing the role of his medicine boy well. In fact, many people envied Fang Chen for being able to be close to Ling Danzi. For the next period of time, Ling Danzi had been refining pills on a large scale. Each time, Fang Chen watched from the side. As time passed, Fang Chen's understanding of alchemy improved greatly. How could he miss out on such a good cultivation ground? Soon, Fang Chen's alchemy cultivation base broke through to the immortal ascension level. This was not a small improvement for him. But obviously, Fang Chen was not satisfied. Ling Danzi was a heaven-opening level alchemist. Every time he watched Ling Danzi refine pills, Fang Chen would be enlightened. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. At this time, Fang Chen could already refine upper-class immortal ascension level pills. Even Ling Danzi was incomparably shocked. Wasn't this speed of comprehension a little too shocking? Kid, you really don't plan to be my disciple? Ling Danzi asked. Fang Chen said apologetically, I am sorry, this junior is focused on cultivation. Ling Danzi was speechless and turned to leave. The Grand Meet of Dongxian was held in advance. The main reason for all this was the revival of Tianqing's family. In his generation, he had also tried to find the innate soul reversal art. All the sect in Dongxian Heaven were paying attention to the movement of Tianqing's family. Taking advantage of this grand meet of Dongxian, many sect leaders also had to discuss how to completely eradicate the remnants of Qianqing's family. As long as they were not eliminated, many sect members would be in constant fear, unable to find peace. After a comprehensive evaluation, Zhen Wuji selected 20 disciples to participate in Dongshuan's grand meet. Surprisingly, God of Thunder was not selected. Even though Xiao Chen had already done his best to recover after being severely injured by Fang Chen's sword strike, he was still not chosen. For this, God of Thunder was furious, but there was nothing he could do. His hatred for Fang Chen increased. However, this could not affect Fang Chen's cultivation. How could he miss out on such a good cultivation ground? Under Zhen Wuji's lead, the people of the Wuji Sword sect came to the Divine Phoenix sect. He had to get the innate soul reversal art. On a mountain peak with birds chirping and flowers blooming, there were endless short peaks everywhere. The tall peak in the middle of the short peaks was the Divine Phoenix Peak. Swoosh! The grand meet of Dongxian is about to begin. I'll take the disciples here for a stroll, said Zhen Wuji. The air rippled as Zhen Wuji brought Fang Chen and the others to the Divine Phoenix Peak. Most importantly, the bloodline power in Huang Mo's body was very compatible with the innate soul reversal art. Ha ha ha, old monster Zhen, you're early. The Divine Phoenix sect leader came out to greet them with a chuckle. Kid, you really don't plan to be my disciple? Asked Ling Danzi. The grand meet of Dongxian is about to begin. I'll take the disciples here for a stroll, said Zhen Wuji. The Divine Phoenix sect leader waved his hand and said, settle the guests of the Wuji Sword sect well. The innate divine sigil of order had brought him great benefits. Then, he left the place with Zhen Wuji. Everyone, please follow me. Old man Huang Tian said with a chuckle. Soon, the disciples of the Wuji Sword sect were arranged to stay in a luxurious residence. The Divine Phoenix sect is indeed a sacred place for the cultivation of the Tao of Souls. Such a mysterious power of the Tao of Souls is really shocking. Fang Chen was also a soul cultivator and could sense the enormous power of the Tao of Souls surrounding the Divine Phoenix sect. He returned to his room and sat down cross-legged, beginning to cultivate the innate soul reversal art. How could he miss out on such a good place for cultivation? Buzz! The incantation of the innate soul reversal art began to circulate in his mind. Suddenly, a faint aura rippled around him. However, what Fang Chen didn't know was that while he was cultivating, within a certain pavilion in the Divine Phoenix sect, a man dressed in luxurious clothing suddenly opened his eyes. Innate soul reversal art? This person was Huang Mo, the fifth disciple of the Divine Phoenix sect. Could it be that the Wuji Sword sect also cultivates the Tao of Souls? Huang Mo stood up abruptly, an excited smile in his eyes. In his generation, he had also tried to find the innate soul reversal art. If it was really a disciple of the Wuji Sword sect who was cultivating it, it would be great. No one knew better than Huang Mo how powerful the innate soul reversal art was. Of course, this was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that the bloodline power in Huang Mo's body was very compatible with the innate soul reversal art. His ancestor was fortunate enough to see the innate soul reversal art and was full of praise for it. He believed that the innate soul reversal art was a very suitable Tao of Souls for their sect. However, his ancestor didn't obtain the innate soul reversal art until his death. Since then, they had passed it down for generations with the goal of obtaining the innate soul reversal art. Voila! Ling Danzi was a heaven-opening alchemist and was very powerful. Every time Fang Chen watched Ling Danzi refine pills, he would be enlightened. Huang Mo opened his palm and a black light flashed. Senior brother Han Yuan is a peak Unity Realm expert. It will be difficult to defeat him, Fang Chen said modestly. His eyes were filled with madness. Fang Chen was now able to refine upper-grade heaven-reaching elixirs. The Divine Phoenix sect master came out personally to welcome him with a smile. In fact, many people envied Fang Chen for being able to get close to Ling Danzi. He had to get the innate soul reversal art. Only I can fully activate the strongest innate soul reversal art, Huang Mo shouted in his heart. In his generation, he had also tried to find the innate soul reversal art. However, When he found out that the innate soul reversal art was in the hands of the Wuji sword sect, he gave up on it. Now, he finally had the chance. Is there someone in the Wuji sword sect who cultivates the Tao of Souls? Sect Master. Although he had been severely injured by Fang Chen and had tried his best to recover, he was still not chosen. This was the territory of the Divine Phoenix sect. It was not impossible for them to secretly coerce him to hand over the innate soul reversal art. Soon, the disciples of the Wuji sword sect were arranged to stay in a luxurious mansion.